Hello and welcome to another episode of Our Kinky Kindles, the podcast where smut is better with friends. Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
You know, if everybody includes me and my two wildly panting dogs, we're doing pretty damn good.
We're doing pretty good. Oh. Little sniffs.
We went on a pack walk before we started recording today. We took all three dogs.
All three puppies.
Anna and Katie took our three collective fur children and went on a very well-behaved walk.
It was super easy.
Super low-key.
No one was really intense about anything.
I have the two most intense dogs in the world.
Well,
they are meant to work, and they live in the suburbs. So,
well, they're doing their best.
That is very generous of you. They are doing their best. How was your week, Katie?
My week was good. I feel like I've spent most of my week with you.
I'm just trying to think. Is there anything about your week that I don't already know? Not really.
We are fresh off of our recording for our mini-series for the Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yes.
That will be coming to a podcast app near you in the future.
There is definitely, it was a really memorable moment when we were about 90 minutes in to our recording, and we had gotten about almost all the way through episode one of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were very lucky to have some incredible guests on that show, and when you have 4 people interacting on one podcast, 4 people that are already friends and generally enjoy not ever shutting up, that makes for crazy tangents that do include watching the One Direction movie live on the pod.
Yeah, we did a lot of live fact checks and some it was a really data-driven episode.
Yeah. So,
the silliest.
This is why we call it bonus content, because it is silly, wacky, zany, goofy. Just 4
silly,
critters.
wacky, zany, goofy little critters.
Curled up on a couch.
Together, ate our beaver nuggets.
We ate our beaver nuggets.
That's not a euphemism.
That's a real snack. Mm-hmm. I had to scold Brandon for banging a bag of chips on the couch while he was actively talking.
For emphasis.
And I said, you simply cannot.
I'm going to need for you to not use a bag of chips as a gesturing tool because it's
extremely loud.
Pretty damn loud. Pretty damn loud. Yeah, that was the most people we've had on the pod get at the same time.
And that's right now. That's the max of our soundboard. 4 is the max. So if we ever graduate to 20 people, we're gonna have to buy a new soundboard.
As you're editing this, do you think it's best practice to have more than 4 voices in one podcast?
No.
You can confirm.
I think. If I were to spend the money on super fancy editing software, then maybe I could do something about it. But at this point, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, this is in no way. Yeah, this is not something that your skill needs to rise up to make possible. This is just
not until y'all start giving us some money.
Hey, yeah, that's a good point. If y'all would like to hear a cacophony of a trillion different smut lovers, smut friends, then join us on Patreon.
The Patreon that doesn't exist.
It shall.
My partner loves to come up with ideas with the podcast that he is not on nor is he involved in.
Sure. He's an idea man.
He really is an idea man, and I love that about him. But at first he asked me, what is your favorite smut? And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, that's
a complicated question. I was like, do you mean what book that had smut did I enjoy the most because it had a beautiful story, it had good writing? Or do you mean what book that had a lot of really good smut that maybe the story wasn't there?
You really can't.
This is a layered question.
This is a weird genre. Yeah.
And he was like, well, a short book that had a lot of smut in it, but the smut was good. And I was like, by good, do you mean is the writing beautiful? Is it a long drawn out scene where we're using like beautiful imagery and descriptions, or like do you want like porny, extremely descriptive, like there's descriptions of sounds and like
yes, like it's super hot and I think about it, you know.
Right. And there's so many different things that I love about smut, and sometimes like the writing that's really beautiful and artistic is great, and sometimes like the really, really dirty descriptive stuff is great, and I like both.
And it kind of depends for me on the time of the month too.
Yes.
Like what I'm into. Like if I'm into more like a cozy, I don't need it to be as crazy, you know, I'm on my period, like it doesn't need to be wild, but then sometimes I'm hot and horny. You're welcome,
sometimes
podcast world.
Sometimes you're ovulating.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
But
if you know, you know.
So he was like, I'm asking because what if the podcast partners sort of read like some of your most favorite smut, and then we tried to write smut that you react to on the podcast.
Stop. Like fan fiction?
Well, yeah, he was like, I could try to write a smut scene, and then you could react to it and like see what it's like when your partner writes smut. And I was like, interesting.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, well, what kind of smut would you want to write? Because he's like into high fantasy.
Orc. This is orc smut. This is
exactly.
ogre smut that he and A have talked about this problem of like, why aren't these, because that's not the genre they're in. It's just fantasy without smut. And it's like so frustrating to him upon first reading some of these books, Brandon Sanderson books. He's like, why are they not fucking?
That's what my partner said. He said that there's like this book that has, you gain power from certain metals, and then there's like, he was describing one specific power that it gives you the ability to see like a few seconds in the future.
Yes.
Just like a hazy view of a few seconds. He's like, you can use that for edging. And I was like, I like that that's where your mind went when you heard that.
Yes.
I can use this for edging.
That's it. Yeah.
And so I was like, if that's the kind of smut you want to write, that requires world building. That requires that's not just sitting down and writing a sex scene. That's like getting buy-in into all of these powers and the universe that you're in.
Because it's a whole different world that it's not going to translate unless it's, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the idea that he had for.
Oh, and then we could review it.
And that we could read the smut that they wrote and then discuss it on the pod. And I was like, that's great. Do you really want me to be reviewing on the pod smut that you wrote?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where else are you getting this inspiration from?
Yeah. I immediately thought that as you were describing it. I thought there is no way to disentangle smut that your partner writes from your own personal sex life.
The only inspiration you have is me. I know this to be a fact. So,
you know, the real life inspiration you're drawing from is me.
It's me.
So this could be interesting. Yeah, that's hilarious. They could use a pen name. I saw I saved this in my reels, you know. I mean, I'm on TikTok sometimes. It was at the Eras tour, and this husband of an author, she was a smut writer author. She broke down her book. Like, she was long story short, if I can dig this up, he was wearing a t-shirt that then on the back of it said, this smut book has these themes from these songs. I found it. So when your golden retriever husband planned his era fit for months and wore a t-shirt with your book on it because he thought the Swifties would love it. So this is Rewrite Our Story, Kat Singleton. Maybe we should review this on the pod. But then the back of it, my wife wrote a small town romance.
Mary's song, 'Tis the Damn Season, Maroon and Mine. Oh my God.
Yeah, and
also,
then there's
it's very
a QR
spicy.
code.
Also, in parentheses, also it's very spicy. Oh my gosh, we have to.
I know.
We have to read that book.
I know. Okay, well, I'll play it again and I'll show you the front cover of it. But like, all I could think as I was watching this video is that this man is part of the inspiration for this fucking smut.
Oh, absolutely.
Like this sweet golden retriever man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, we need to read that.
Kat Singleton. Just to plug her here on the pod. This was just the cutest. What else has she written? Amazon top 3 best-selling author, Kat. Speaking of things we've saved on TikTok and Instagram, let's take an abrupt left turn to our Friday night.
Our Friday night.
That we got our nails done, all pink and sparkly, because y'all know where we went. Y'all know what we saw. The Barbie movie.
Barbie.
We were Barbie girls in a Barbie world.
We sure were.
We brought both of our partners, both of our kins.
We took our kins with us. They loved the film.
Jay, did you see him?
He was giggling, just giddy.
He was giddy the whole movie. I can count on one hand the movies that he has been that delighted about. Nacho Libre is one of them.
The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid. Oh my God. But the Barbie movie.
If you're a girl.
Oh my.
If you're a girly living in this crazy world, you got to go see that movie.
Drop everything now.
You have to. It is bubblegum pink. It is beautiful.
It's a feminist masterpiece.
It is feminist anarchy. It is
feminist anarchy.
So good.
I have seen some reviews. Y'all are welcome to push back if you're not into it. I have, disclaimer, seen some reviews that this is white feminism. A great point. Good point. Yes.
Sure.
Most of there is inclusion. The Madam President is a person of color, a black woman. I don't think anyone can watch. I don't think a movie this big can go out into this world without there being a lot of dissenting voices.
Yeah.
Now, Ted Cruz, we expected.
We did expect Ted Cruz to declare war on Barbie.
Fox News, the news anchor's responses. I have this whole saved. What is it from? It's from that stupid satire. I love this account. Sorry, funny account. I can't think of you. But it's just mocking all of the conservative folks who are so disturbed by the Barbie movie.
I delight.
We're both married to male identified. Men.
Yes.
Folks.
Cisgender, het men.
Exactly. White, cis het white men.
Yep.
Both of them loved this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
As men.
Well,
they were not threatened by this.
They're feminists.
They're feminists. They saw that and they were not threatened.
No.
They did not think, oh, this is a man-hating movie.
No. Jay did say while you were in the bathroom after the movie was over, he was like, some men are bad. Yeah.
Oh, my baby.
He said, I am not bad, but some men are bad.
Good job. Yes.
I said, correct. You are not bad.
You are not.
But there are bad men.
And we've had the same discussion, talking about Reputation or something. He was like, are there any songs that are good about men? And I'm like, yes, about like the songs where she falls in love and he's really respectful and kind and wonderful and they build a life together. Sure. Yes. The breakup songs and the revenge songs are also really good. So yeah, there's two sides.
Yeah.
Satire, though, is one of my favorite forms of humor. It's obviously one of Jay's favorite forms of humor. It was so clearly satire.
Oh, it was, yeah, and it was incredible. The writing was beautiful. It was shot just so incredibly. Comedic timing, the cast, everything about it, just so good. And if you're a woman and if you're a woman, you've experienced sexism. That's just how it is.
Yeah. If you've existed in this world
as a female identified person, then you will relate to this movie.
Yeah.
And I think there's something there to learn for everybody.
I did not expect to be as delighted and as it's also thought provoking and funny.
It was hilarious, but then by the end, just there were tears streaming down my face.
That's the magic of it. I think very few books and movies can do that well. That juxtaposition of we're learning, we're feeling seen and heard. We broke out in applause at one point after America Ferrera's speech.
Yes, our entire theater just started clapping we were at the theater. It was a real theater with actors, but
it was a TED Talk.
It was
gorgeous.
It was magic.
Because she goes on a rant about what it is to be a woman and how it's a lose-lose situation. Mm-hmm. So we've got to stick together and be the change we want to see in the world. And it takes courage to continue going in this world that's built against us, And so let's make this a better world for all of us. But she really talked about how you can't win as a woman. And it was just to hear everybody cheer was incredible. I loved the pinkness of it all. I loved the humor. I immediately bought some pink Birkenstocks.
And one of the best parts of that movie was as Barbie is becoming a person, a woman, she's becoming a human woman. They had all of these incredible shots of just girls laughing and being happy.
Oh my God.
I was sobbing. I was look at how good it is to be a woman.
Yes. I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. I sent you a TikTok the other day about this summer we have the Eras tour, we have the Summer I Turned Pretty, we have the Barbie movie, we have Olivia Rodrigo is dropping another album. It is, I love being a woman, and it is really hard in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. But there's so much
Look
delight.
at all the things we can get to enjoy.
Yes, there's so
being
much
a woman.
Yes, and there's so much community and camaraderie in that. However, you appreciate being a woman, and I super loved folks who did not outwardly identify as women who were celebrating women.
Yes.
They all had on pink.
Everyone.
Yes.
It was like it was like I was transported back to when I was going to see like Twilight movie premieres, Harry Potter movie premieres. Everyone was dressed up. There were girls dressed up like Barbies. There were men dressed up like Kens. Just like everyone was there to celebrate this movie, to be a Ken, to be a Barbie, and just to celebrate womanhood. And, you know.
It was uplifting women. And I think, I mean, to get poignant for a moment, I grew up with a lot of discrimination against women, there's sexism and there's the patriarchy, and then there's fundamentalist Christian cults, which is what I grew up in. And it's, if you've seen Shiny Happy People, folks, about the Duggars, that is how I grew up. And it is a really, like, it's patriarchy multiplied by 1,000. Like, it's systematically disempowering women so that they can be controlled, and there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of brainwashing, and the women don't understand that there's anything else out there, and there's so much control and lack of access to resources. So I have so much respect for girls and women who get out of that, because they don't know how to drive, they don't know how to have a bank account, they don't know how to like live in this real world. So bravo, y'all. I stand with you. But I obviously didn't grow up with Barbies, was not allowed to have a Barbie. I forget where I was going with this, other than it was really meaningful to see people cheering on other women and cheering on, like, hey, what used to be like something I was ashamed of and like felt controlled by, my femininity, like the fact that identify as a woman means I can be controlled. It was just like this full circle moment. Even walking around on Saturday downtown, I meant to tell you, everyone was in pink. There was a Barbie bar crawl.
Oh my God.
And so all the bars had like pink, like all through the center of downtown, had pink streamers, pink balloons. Everyone was in pink.
I love that.
Barbies and Kens everywhere. And our non-binary pals. It was so sweet. And it was like, look, we can celebrate. There's strength in femininity.
Yes.
I think that beauty of like, hey, I don't have to submit to a man in order to have worth and beauty. Like, I don't know. It was really meaningful. And I know there's a lot of holes in feminism. That's why there's so many waves, y'all. Mm-hmm. Where I value the voices of other feminists, and I want there to be more intersectionality. Absolutely. And I want feminism, as I understand it, a raising tide lifts all boats in the harbor. Like I want equality for all identities, not just female. I want folks to feel empowered.
Yeah.
Our non-binary pals.
Yes. The idea of feminism is just that everyone feels equitable in the world and is equitable in the world.
And is equal opportunity.
Yes. And that is not just for women. That's for people of color. That's for LGBTQIA plus folks. Like that goes for everyone feeling that they have an equal standing.
Beautiful.
In the world.
Yes. I think that is some of the criticism of like, white, this is helping white women, but is this benefiting women of color and people of color? And so there's so much work left to be done. Mm-hmm. I'm learning more every day. I'm learning how I can be the change I want to see in the world. I think the Barbie movie is a force for good in this world.
Yeah. The Barbie movie is doing a lot of good. And some of that good is making conservative men angry.
One of my favorite parts... Yeah, I'll have to send you this because it's like a compilation of Fox News people getting their panties in a wad about the Barbie movie. It's my favorite thing in this world.
I know. I had sent you that picture. It was like, there's people really literally doing reviews of the Barbie movie. A lot of white men are saying that it's hurting their feelings.
I'm so sorry.
Their feelings are hurt. I'm so sorry. And one of the reviews was, the movie is, quote, bizarre and anti-men. And I was like, perfect. That sounds awesome. I, too, identify as bizarre and anti-men.
This is it's like feeling particularly feral. Like, how is that a bad thing? thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw a girl on TikTok where she was like, I never really was into Barbies. That wasn't really my thing.
Sure.
And so I was going to see the Barbie movie, but I wasn't that excited about it. And then I saw Ted Cruz declare war on Barbie. And then I said, I will be going opening night.
It's not about Barbie.
It's not
I mean, it is, but like the message and what you're supporting when you're supporting this Barbie core everything, you're saying, hey, the scales have been out of balance.
Yes.
We had the Trump presidency, and now people are good and fucking furious.
That's right.
And
if it pisses off Ted Cruz, I'll be there in the front fucking row.
We are doing something right. We are doing something right.
If Ron DeSantis' feelings get hurt, I'll be there to take a picture of
Ron
it.
DeSantis hates this. I'm there.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
With bells on. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you all who live in Florida. That I feel for you. We have
I'm so sorry.
We have horrible leaders here in our state as well, and so we truly feel for y'all in Florida who are suffering right now. So
we get it, and
it fucking sucks.
We want y'all to be safe.
I know y'all didn't ask for that.
Yeah, we are voting for you and your loved ones to be safe.
Yeah,
and we are doing what we can. And you know what? I'd say move to our state, but it's no better.
Don't.
But actually, could you not?
I mean, we would love to have you here to hang out with us.
Oh yeah, no, we'd love you here,
but
it's
you're
just
not
no better.
any safer here.
Yeah, you're no safer here. The Mr. Rogers quote. This is not to like sugarcoat. Like, yeah, we need to fight. Like, there needs to be active change in this world. And when we feel powerless, look for the helpers, look for the people, look for the counter protesters, look for the people. Listen to Anna and Katie. Like, we're here supporting all identities, creating safe spaces in our sphere of influence, and advocating for that in our legislature. And we're putting out this pod where we speak about our experience as cis-het white women, but we champion and support everyone.
Yes. Yeah, we always want everyone to feel safe and comfortable here. And, our goal was, to spend time with each other and do something fun, but also to create a community where everyone feels welcome and safe to talk about silly little smut books.
Talk about silly little smut books, because sexuality is a beautiful part of life.
Everyone gets to experience sexuality in the way that they want.
In the way that feels safe to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said that the other day, and I was like, yes. Yes, that.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel strongly.
Yeah, in our weird little community.
Yeah. Isn't that what I said?
Yes, you did. I read that and I was like, yes.
We have a weird little
community.
We sure do.
The whole Barbenheimer thing was hysterical to me.
So funny.
Everybody doing a little double header there.
I loved at the theater that we went to, you could tell who was going to see Barbie and who, like, it was people, bright pink patterns. Ken's wearing their open button downs.
Grinning ear to ear.
Yeah. Oppenheimer was just like black, sad. Not here to have a good time.
Thoughtful. Yeah, like not here to have a good time.
Christopher Nolan's a great director.
Yes.
I've loved a lot of movies he's created.
I'm sure it's great.
Not to brag, but I'm getting a lot of Barbie content on my TikTok because the TikTok
we are the target demographic.
Yes. And there's a guy that I follow who does, like, he's exclusive, like a movie guy, and he was talking about opening night profits for the movies, and he was like, everyone was speculating what was going to outsell the other, and he was like, Oppenheimer made $10 million opening night. Incredible.
Amazing.
Opening.
Yeah.
Barbie made $22.3 million on opening night. So he said, I did expect Barbie to outsell, but I did not expect Barbie to more than double.
More than double. Yes.
And that just goes to show that women need a place to be themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. We and the Eras Tour phenomenon.
Same thing. If you create a space that's safe for women, we will spend our money and we will go there.
In droves. This has been wild to watch unfold this summer. Every time there's a big national, like, come apart, then people want to have joy. They want to go into this, like, they want to feel alive again.
Yeah.
And I think after this, like, after the overturn of Roe v. Wade and, like, all of this stuff, there's this outroar of women.
The girlies are coming.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible. It's good. It's a beautiful part of history to be alive in, and I think I'm seeing it, and I'm not a political commentator or anything, but I'm noticing. I'm proud.
Yeah, we're just
proud to
taking
be a part of it.
Yeah, we're glad to be here.
Glad to be having a good time in our pink glitter.
All right, let's hop into this week's book. This week we read The Nanny by Lana Ferguson.
Yes.
And this was a book that we were influenced to read by TikTok. I came across a TikTok where a girl was reviewing this book, and she was talking about how spicy it was, and then that it was like if Allie Hazelwood and Tessa Bailey had a baby, it would be this book.
And we were immediately, yes.
Yeah, I sent it to Anna, and I said, this is the one, I think.
This is it. Let's do it.
As fans of Tessa Bailey and Allie Hazelwood, we approve.
We were like, that's all you've got to say.
We're sold.
That did the trick. We, it was a good... Also, we both... This probably won't give away too much information, but we were both nannies. You and I.
Yeah.
We both... Before we went to grad school, and I for a little bit in grad school... We also both nannied for families who knew one another.
Yeah, it was very strange. This is before we were friends.
Yeah.
And my nanny mom was best friends with Anna's
my nanny mom. And like there was no way that they could have it's a pretty big city. Like it was so strange.
Yeah, it was very weird.
I don't even remember how we figured that out. Or you told me. You were like,
you said that your nanny mom worked at the same hospital that mine did, and I was like, what is the name of
and then you had met my nanny boy.
Yes, because he was best friends with my nanny, my little nanny boy, and I had met up with, like, me, my mom, and your nanny mom had all met up together to hang out before they all had to go to work, and
it was so strange. Yeah, that is part of how we became friends. I'm curious if people will relate to this experience in this book.
So, yes, when I was reading this, like, full disclosure,
I was... Upfront... We'll just say...
It's fine.
It's fine. 3.6 out of 5 on Goodreads.
That's
and
probably
that
what I would give it.
Pretty solid. Mm-hmm. Just a heads up, y'all.
But the thing is, having been a nanny, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. There were several things where I was like, no, I did this for a couple of years, and I disagree.
Don't do that.
Don't.
Especially he's paying. It's all complicated.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I know. I almost texted you a few times, and I was like, no.
No.
Not just that she's, y'all know where it's going to go. She's going to sleep with them. But it was such a gift to be a part of those families. We've both talked about this extensively.
I loved being a part of that family. I got to go to first birthday parties, and it was very special. I loved those kids more than anything in the whole world. They're very sweet.
As child free by choice, like it was really meaningful to be there and like be such an integral part. It's such an honor. Well, I'm sure we will circle back to this several times on the podcast of like to be a part of these people's families.
I know, it was very special.
It was very special and very like at one point, Cassie, and I'll give the synopsis in a second, but at one point Cassie takes Sophie, the nanny child, to hang out with her grad school friend's niece. And I'm like, I could not leave the house with my kids.
I can imagine that might have been hard. I had the older boy's car seat in my car before the younger brother was born. And then when the younger brother was born, he obviously had an infant seat. And so they ended up getting a new car, and they had a Subaru Forester that the mom used to drive. And they ended up giving me the Subaru Forester to like...
Because it's super safe.
Yeah, so I drove their Subaru.
Oh,
when I took the kids to the zoo and the park and,
That's so sweet, though.
Yeah, it was fun. I really, it was like, I got to be like a part-time mom, which was fun and all I needed in my life. That's all I really needed to experience.
It was, I don't know. I have so much respect for parents. No matter how you become a parent, I have so much respect for y'all. Having nannied, I was not a parent, but I was intimately intertwined in a family, and caring for dogs is a lot of work. I never compare the two unless I'm completely joking, because I get it. They are not the same thing.
It's really not.
It's really not.
I got to go home at the end of the day and sleep in my own bed, and nobody woke me up.
Yeah. And it, like, if a dog wakes you up, like, you can do something about it. Like with a person, a little baby person, you can't. But it was a fun chapter of life to be a nanny.
Yeah, I look back on it wistfully. I did love doing that. I mean,
there were some really beautiful parts of it.
Yeah, I love that I got to move on, get my master's degree, and do something that I really enjoy. But I did enjoy taking care of those little babies.
I know. So it was fun whenever Katie sent this to me. I was like, the nanny, we were both nannies, we got to read this.
hit us with that synopsis at 45 minutes into this podcast.
Well, we may not have a ton to talk about with this book. The ones that we love, we have so much to say. The ones that we're like, yeah, 3.6. We don't always have as much. This is by Rachel Finston on allaboutromance.com. Her synopsis briefly is The Nanny is a contemporary romance about Cassie, a young woman finishing her master's who needs a good job, and Aiden, the chef, who hires her to look after his daughter. It's a great job, well-paid, live-in, and Sophie, the daughter, is a fun kid. The only problem is that Cassie knows Aiden. He used to be her best client. Okay, here's the thing. Pause. It's one thing to know tangentially the person whomst you're working for. It's another thing to know him in this way.
It's something. It was kind of hot.
Oh, yeah. He used to be her best client on her OnlyFans, a website, parentheses, a website where users can sell and or purchase original content, but has become more widely known as somewhere people can buy and sell not safe for work content. Thank you, Rachel Finston, for explaining this. When Cassie is laid off from the job she loves, she has to look for a new gig. The perfect one materializes when she sees an ad for a nanny and meets the charming father of her new would-be charge. Yeah, this child is her charge.
Sure.
Aiden is more than handsome, a busy chef at a Michelin-starred restaurant who's grappling with the challenges of single fatherhood. Cassie's the best candidate he's met, and she takes the job. It's only after she's moved in and starts work that Cassie realizes Aiden used to watch her OnlyFans. Not only that, but their digital relationship was pretty intimate. When the relationship starts to steam up in real life, Cassie has to find a way not just to be honest, but to be brave.
Okay.
This says nothing about the spice.
Well, there's spice.
I would say that the point of this book is spice.
Yeah, so when I was coming into this book, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be one of those cute little slow burns. Kinda. Mm-hmm. But once they have sex, it's ongoing. It's multiple, like, probably what you say, 5 or 6, like, full start to finish sex scenes.
Yes, multiple finishing. And so I'll get to this in a second, but the chapters open with little blips of her talking to a la carte.
I love that.
Yes. So, like, in terms of, some books, it's like, oh, I forgot about what sex is. And then you're like 75% of the way through, and then it's like, oh, the slow burn. Like, oh, sex. Okay. Yeah. This is like, no, we're keeping this fresh on the mind.
Yes.
And so, like, I thought that they were fast forwards, but they were all rewind, like, glimpses from the past of their conversations. And very steamy conversations.
I loved that.
Yes, so that was pretty hot. This was an interesting plot. It was, I hadn't seen this yet. I hadn't read this yet.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. We'll get into it.
I'm not sure if this is in my notes specifically. I also did not fully buy in to how intense his job was as a chef.
Why was it so deeply skeptical as well.
I have worked in a restaurant, and yeah, it's stressful, but like once you get home, that stress is gone because you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, you're no longer. Home. Yeah, I began to wonder, is this some escapism? Especially then him working out really hard to not be at home. Yeah, I know that folks in food service are working weird hours for sure.
Oh yeah, the hours I get, but like the intensity of his job. I don't know, chefs, if you're listening, chime in. Like, is it taking over your entire life?
Yeah, is it sucking your soul? Maybe. There's that show, Bear something, with that guy with the dark circles. And he's a chef. And, yeah, I mean, Gordon Ramsay's pretty intense.
He is very intense.
I'm gathering what data I have on the world of chefdom. And I don't know. Maybe this is just something that we don't understand.
Maybe this is a really like fancy restaurant thing.
Well, it's a Michelin starred.
People were calling him in the middle of the day saying, "Our shallots are gone.
Our shallots."
It's like, is there not anyone else you can talk to? So, like, besides the person who's not on the job currently?
That seems to be something you could resolve yourself. Yeah, it was an interesting. I didn't quite buy that either.
Yeah. Anyway, more of that discussion to come.
More to come.
So this is on page VIII. I guess this is prologue.
We need a prologue for this.
Yeah. I take a deep breath, reminding myself that I need the money, that it's my body, and I'm taking ownership of it. Everything that I do from this point on is my choice, and I'm in complete control. That thought makes me feel brave. I take a deep breath, check my wig, adjust my mask. I can do this. I start the camera.
Yeah.
This is an OnlyFans girly.
An OnlyFans girly. We just did a book, Allie Hazelwood.
Yes.
Where there was the fake dating app, Faux, and now I've got OnlyFans. She's trying to get through school. She's trying to pay her bills.
Yeah, she's desperate to make money. Make your money, girl. I mean,
there are lots of ways to, and I like that that's highlighted there of like, hey, you're in control here. You get to determine your comfort level with your OnlyFans. She is making this decision autonomously, and she's setting her own boundaries.
Yeah.
And it feels authentic and congruent for her.
yeah, she hides her face, she hides her identity, and, that I'm glad that she's finding something that works for her.
Yeah.
Stay safe out there, y'all.
Yeah, if you ever feel unsafe, this is something, that's another topic. But this is handled, do we feel like it's handled positively?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a very, sex work positive book, I would say.
Yeah. It's very, it's threaded through the whole book.
Yeah, and later on, when everything is kind of revealed that she was the OnlyFans girl, there's no shaming about it at all.
Yeah. It's very, he was the one engaging with the content.
Yeah, that's true. Men sometimes don't know how to handle shame if they...
True.
If they're confronted with their decisions. So
yeah, I was a little concerned.
I'm glad that was handled the way that it was.
Yeah. Sir, you are willingly participating.
You paid for this.
You paid for this many, many times.
Yes. Okay, page 4. This does flip back and forth for perspectives, but for the most part, we really get a lot of Cassie's perspective.
Yeah, I listened to the audiobook version, and the actress for Cassie was mostly the only one reading, and then it would switch to Aiden, like the actor playing Aiden, and it was very disorienting.
Yes. It's very rare that Aiden gets a chapter, but...
Yeah.
Okay, page 4. Taking cash from people looking to get their rocks off was an easy decision when faced with a looming tuition bill that I couldn't begin to pay otherwise. Good tits should really earn their keep. I think Margaret Thatcher said that once.
Sure did.
I was like, I don't think... that sounds like Margaret Thatcher.
Sure does sound like Margaret Thatcher. A really pleasant, playful woman.
Cross-stitched that onto her thing. She's so silly, Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, really lighthearted. Really low-key kind of person who would be so playful. Yeah, good tits should earn their keep.
All right, page 7. We're gonna meet Aiden. Let's meet him.
Let's meet our man.
My brain short circuits for a few seconds trying to make sense of the sudden appearance of a large man with thick chestnut hair that's pushed away from his forehead and a strong jaw and stronger cheekbones. And his mouth is softer looking than mine. He's tall, too. Not just the sort of tall that makes you think he plays basketball or something, although he totally could if he wanted to. But the kind of tall that makes you want to ask him to grab something off the top shelf for you, just so you can watch the way his shoulders move under his shirt. Sure. I realize this thought process makes little sense, but all I know is I am 5'7" with tits worth paying for and an ass built on squats and emotional connection with bread. Me too. Oh my god. Yes.
Emotional connection with bread.
Squats and emotional that is
yes, that's you.
That is my ass.
Yes. Ass is iconic.
And this man makes me feel tiny. So she's 5'7", and she feels small. He's very tall.
Yeah.
And if these things aren't enough to leave me dumbfounded, which I am, literally drooling sparkling water. That's you.
Yeah, sparkling water all day.
His eyes would do the trick. I've heard of heterochromia. So,
yes, this happened again.
Yeah, very popular. At the very least, I'm pretty sure my biology professor mentioned it in passing when I was in undergrad. But I've never actually seen it in person. His eyes are a clash of one brown and one green. The color's not bright, but subtle, like warm tea and seawater that are hard to look away from.
Yes.
Heterochromia. So that's what the thing I could not think of when...
Heterochromia.
Yeah.
For Dr. Jack fucking, what was his name?
Jack fucking Smith fucking Turner.
Yes.
That's it. My mom. She has one blue eye, one green eye.
That is so interesting. I don't think I've noticed. Blue and green are pretty close.
Yeah. You notice more when she's mad at you and...
Oh, okay.
She's making eye contact and you can't look away. It's like, which one do I look at? I don't know.
That was the voice of lived experience there.
Yeah, childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, you notice more when you're forced to maintain eye contact.
Yeah, so he's a large man with sexy eyes, apparently.
I know. Yes, there was a lot referenced about him working out a lot. So
It sounds like that's his coping mechanism of choice.
it sure is, which is interesting. He's a hottie.
Yeah. Also, this book hits the ground running because, I mean, that was page 7, and that was like him interviewing her for the position. Like,
Yes.
this is immediate getting hired as a nanny.
There's not a whole lot of tension leading up. She does spend some time bemoaning her financial state. Education is expensive in the US of A.
It sure is.
She is working her way through school, and it's taking her a minute. We respect. She is in occupational therapy school. I've worked closely with OTs in my time teaching special ed. So a lot of the things they were referencing.
And that requires a lot of school.
It does, as it should. It's physical therapy, but not.
It's like physical therapy with a little star next to it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it is so, because there's a lot of adaptive equipment. Like, she references a few times using, like, in classes.
Special
with their
chairs
friends.
with straps and
Yeah, and I mean, I learned enough. I took courses and learned enough, like, hands-on with students that I learned from a lot of occupational therapists. They trained me on things, which was really, I mean, it's a big job. It's a big job.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of, like,
patience.
Yeah, compassion and attention to detail.
Yes.
It's like medical, and there's a lot of elements to this.
Yeah, you have to know a lot about the human body and the human mind. And
Yes, because it's the intersection of all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also work, speech and language pathologists work closely with assistive technology as well, but they work a lot with assistive technology, and it is a whole world out there, y'all. If you have loved ones or have seen the world of helping folks be mobile and have accessibility to this world, it is really cool. There's some cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
So that's her world.
Yeah. I go to a lot of IEP meetings.
Oh, yes, you do.
For my job. And we work closely with OTs and speech pathologists for things like that. And
Yes.
they do good work.
They do great work. That I was an audiology major and then an SLP major for like 3 semesters. I was going to do it. I was pretty damn good at it. I just then would have had to go to grad school. And I thought, I don't want to go to grad school.
What? Sounds hard.
Lo and behold, she did it anyway.
Here we are.
Just in a different field. But yeah, all the respect for them. I enjoyed that we haven't read about a heroine who does that yet.
Yeah.
A main character who does that yet. And that was cool.
All right. On page 14, I just highlighted Sophie can be very strong-willed. Sophie's his daughter. So that's the one. She's 9. And I just hope that when he says strong-willed, he means that it's a compliment, because we need more girlies who are strong-willed, especially at the age of 9.
I know. I read that, and I think Cassie at some point is like, reminds me of me. Like,
Yeah, she seems great.
This is great. And then as we get to know Sophie, this is not even the most strong-willed in the sense of that word.
Yeah.
Child. I mean, I spent a lot of time with a lot of kids, and she's pretty tame.
Yeah, I mean,
She has thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, he made it seem like she was really evil and would scare nannies away, but all she was is like
Skeptical.
a little hard to get to trust someone. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
which is like that's pretty developmentally appropriate for a 9-year-old.
Pretty good.
A 9-year-old whose mom just died.
Yeah, upon reflection, that's interesting that it was kind of, the pump was primed for her to be like this terrible child, and she was a delight.
Yeah, I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she was a great
And
kid.
she was, I mean, obviously she's written by an adult, but I was like, wow, she's pretty well-spoken for a 9-year-old.
Yeah, she was a gifted kid. This is the first smut that we have read that had this much content about children.
Yeah, that was interesting. So
This was heavily child-oriented.
yeah, I think, I'll talk about it later on when I get to it, but I do have a note about single dad romances.
Okay, yes. I also have a note on that. And it is a genre. We can unpack it more, but it was a little disorienting at times for me, a non-parent who has worked extensively with children, to read about, playing at the zoo and then fucking their dad. Like, it was a big flip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Family photos, family dinners, and then like some real bump and grind.
I guess that's what moms be doing.
That's what parents do.
They go to the zoo, and then when their kid goes to bed, they be fucking.
That is such a completely different part of my brain.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
That is like, it it would take, and this is I've heard parents talking about this, of like, it would take me forever to shift gears.
Yeah.
From being a caregiver, nurturing, and then to step into my own sexuality and expression and like.
Yes. I know. I think Savannah has talked about this before, but she and her partner have like, after the kids go to bed, they just like sit in silence and do like their designated 30 minutes of like doom scrolling on their own. It's like, side
by side.
Yeah.
But
like,
don't touch me.
We're in the same room, but I need to separate myself from the parenting that we just did. Yes.
I feel like even after getting home from nannying, it was, and especially teaching, especially any context with young children, it was just like, I need a minute to be an adult again and talk like an adult.
Yes.
And get like that caregiving. There's so much research on, especially the experience of female sexuality, how like when you're in that like caregiving task oriented place of like other people and things are responsible, I'm responsible for them. It's so hard to then shift into, I'm going to relax and I'm going to be sexual and I'm going to much less like sit down and just be yourself.
Yeah, especially like when I was a nanny, they were young, like especially after the baby was born.
Oh yeah.
I was holding the baby all day long, and there was also a toddler who needed attention. And so when I got home, I was like, I need no one to touch me for the next 3 hours. Yeah. I've been touched all day long, and I need to be an independent human with nothing touching me.
Seriously? Yeah.
So, yeah, moms.
Props.
Yeah, I don't know how you're doing it, but good job.
It really, good job. And if smut is something that helps you be present in your sex life too, for you, not just for your partner, oh my God, don't do it for you. Like if this is what helps you be a person.
Right, absolutely.
You don't owe your partner, anyway, that's another rant for another time. But yeah, I would have to get really creative is what I'm saying. Yeah. Maybe people find a good balance. But
sure.
This is, that was disorienting sometimes for my own brain. Cause I would go into like, I'm reading a story about...
We're at Disney World.
Caregiving.
This is great.
Yeah, we're at Disney World. And now we're fucking in the Airbnb. All right.
Great. All right. Page 18. She's packing to move into Aiden's house. And
it's a live-in position.
Yes. A live-in nanny position. She has her own little whole floor, which sounds great. This chef job, I mean, you must make a lot of money.
I had so many questions. Yeah.
I paused from shoving socks into my overnight bag. Code word? Right. Wanda nods thoughtfully from my couch/bed. All hail the futon. In case he won't let you speak freely. How many Lifetime movies have you been watching? You won't think it's very funny when he's feeding you baby food and making you play dress up. I laugh at that. That's actually a kink, right? You're kidding. Her shocked expression makes me laugh harder. People pay good money to feed cute girls baby food and play dress up.
So strange.
I know.
So strange. I mean, I don't kink shame.
It feels right.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Hot damn. Wanda shakes her head. Where was that when I was younger? It could have saved me a lot of shifts at the library. Wanda is good people.
Wanda was the comedic relief.
I loved her. I thought she was great. She was like, excuse me, I would like to be a booby cam girly.
Yeah.
She calls it booby cam.
We have rated a lot of like main characters' best friends at this point. Like all of them have one. That's a trope. This was an unexpected one.
She's like 70.
Yeah, she sure is.
I love that about her.
And she's supportive and protective, and yeah, that was fun.
All right, page 24. This is what I love Sophie. I think she's just the sweetest little angel.
I know.
And this is her meeting Cassie for the first time. She absolutely doesn't smile. I like her already.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially for a girly.
Yeah.
Don't
if you don't like me, don't smile at me.
Yeah, in fact, I thank you for showing up authentically.
Yes.
Thank you for whatever caregivers have helped curate this, like, hey, it's safe to express what you really think and feel.
Absolutely.
So good.
All right, page 27. Now we're going to learn about what happened to Sophie's mom. It's not that descriptive, so I mean, if you're sensitive to parental loss, but this is not. It's not dark or scary. Sophie was unexpected. Rebecca and I met at a party during our senior year in college, and we were seeing each other casually for a little while. When Rebecca found out she was pregnant, we attempted an actual relationship, but it was pretty clear early on that it was never going to work out between us. We did our best to co-parent as smoothly as we could, though, for Sophie's sake. Oh, I looked down at my shoes feeling awkward. I'm sure it's been really rough for Sophie. So, I actually really... So, this is where we can talk a little bit more about the single dad romances. I enjoyed this one more than others just because he's not a mourning father. He did lose someone. He lost his co-parent, but they weren't in a relationship. They weren't even that close, really. Yeah. He saw Sophie a couple times a month. And so it's not like she is coming into like a devastated man. To
vulnerable.
Right. I mean, the daughter is obviously very sad, and she's there to help with the daughter, but I really appreciated that. This was not her coming in to replace a wife that he once had.
Yeah, now that's a trope. Sound of Music is an example of one of those. But, I mean, there is I'm like thinking, since the dawn of time, this is a trope. Since the dawn of the Sound of Music.
The dawn of the Sound of Music.
But even that, like, the mom had passed further on. But yeah, this was not a grieving father situation.
Yes, and I appreciate that. Here's the deal. I avoid single dad romances, not because I don't like that it's like sad or whatever. It's just because I don't like this is going to sound bad. I just hate I hate kids interrupting stuff. I'm like, why are you here?
Here's the thing, y'all. We love kids. We both worked with kids a lot.
I work with kids currently.
Yeah, professionally. We respect parents. We love parents. We have lots of friends who have children.
Absolutely.
We are not anti-kids. We are not bad people. Y'all can think what you want.
Being is one of my favorite things in the whole world.
Exactly. We are child-free by choice.
Yes, child-free by choice.
And it is by not just our choice, also our partner's choices. And we are in collective agreement here.
Yes, conversations that are ongoing. Yes. Ongoing consent.
These are ongoing consent. Exactly. There's a healthy way to live a child-free life, and that is by checking in a lot with your partner because we're still young and, anyway, all of that. The point is, I do not have kids, so I can speak frankly about how, oh my God, I don't enjoy... It's really hard for me to think about sexuality in the context of being a caregiver for children.
Me too.
Like we just said that. Like it's not, it's just such a different part of my brain and I'm all in as a caregiver for kids.
I think it triggers my working brain. Like, this is my job. I'm working right now. And I don't feel sexy or feel I don't really feel fully myself when I'm in my working mode.
Because really, from like a mental health standpoint, I kind of am suppressing my needs. Like that's absolutely. Kind of the point.
I mean, we have to bracket these parts of ourselves so we can be fully present for other people's needs.
We do it professionally too, and it's not. I mean, folks have to take care of themselves, parents and therapists, for different reasons. Because it's like, anytime that you are suppressing your own needs in order to meet someone else's, it can get really toxic and chronic, and it can become codependency, or it can exacerbate existing codependency challenges. But it just, even just hearing about it with Sophie sounded really cool. But I clicked into that, like, oh, is Sophie grieving well? Like, it just brought up that whole genre of my brain of child development.
Yes.
Oh.
Right. It brings
Which is just not hot.
Yeah, the educational, the working side of my brain. And I know that people, like, there are a lot of people who enjoy the single dad romances because, like, seeing a man take care of a child is hot to them. Like, and I think
they want kids themselves.
Yes, and I love that. And, sometimes they're, like,
gorgeous.
When I see my partner playing with my niece or my nephew, I'm like, yeah, I see, like, that's kind of sexy. I think that's sweet.
It's tender. It's biological. It's evolutionary that we're like, ooh.
Yeah, but then by the time we get home after we spend all day with these young kids, I'm like, please don't touch me. Yeah. I'm so fucking tired. If you love single dad romances, that's awesome.
There are lots of them out there. It is a super valid.
Yeah, and I get that seeing a man be tender and vulnerable and take care of this, like, little helpless creature,
it's attractive,
is hot. I get that.
Provider, supporter, protector.
It's just like whenever I'm reading a book like that and, like, their intimate time gets, like, interrupted by a screaming baby or a kid that's like, what are you all doing? It's like, that's not hot. It
is relatable for so many people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why maybe it's hot, because it's, they're like, that's my real life.
It's like, oh, remember that time when Joey walked in. Like,
Ooh, that was so, yeah, exactly. We get it. It's just because of where I am in life. I super love children, and I love them and respect the rights of children so much so that I do not have any.
Yeah.
Because I know that I would be so, at this stage in life, you know, I would be so irritated.
Yeah, it's hard to explain this to people who live in our area because we live in the South. And
yeah, other people are probably like, that's so valid. What?
Yes. We've been married for many years now.
Yeah.
And so by this point, people are expecting us to have procreated and to be on our third kid by now.
Yeah, it's the elephant in the room now at this point.
And so it's hard to explain to people that the choice that's just not something that I want at this point in my life. And
we don't have to justify it.
Right. But the response is like, well, you're being selfish, or how could you not want this? And it's like, well, because I have a full-time job and my partner has a full-time job and I'm tired all the time, and like I barely have time to do things that I want to do, like hang out with my friends and play and be silly. And if I have a child, all of that goes away.
Yeah.
And that's not me anymore.
Healthy parents lead to healthy children. Mm-hmm. And how I am wired, who I am, with my story, with who I am as a person, it would take a lot of changes in order for me to be a healthy parent.
Right.
That would lead to healthy kids. Those are changes that I do not want to make. And so because I value, like, I know so much at this point. I know so much about healthy childhood development, and like, it's not about being a perfect parent. It's about being a good enough parent. And it's like, y'all are doing a bomb ass job out there.
Yeah.
Our friends who are parents, and like, I have so much respect, and wow.
Yeah. I'm continually impressed by all my friends who have kids, and they find incredible balance. And I know that it's hard. I see them struggling, and you know, it's all moms have similar struggles of like making sure that they have time for themselves and time for their partner, and making sure that they have good relationship
Unicorn
with their
space.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. And so, I mean, our society's not built to support and love moms the way that we should.
In the U.S., it's really,
but y'all are doing a good job.
Yeah, against a lot of opposition. Like, even when folks have like family support, like extended family, like it's really hard, and I have so much respect. And for those of you who are on the fence about, maybe you're not parents yet by choice, and you're like, I feel like a really weird outlier, like an outcast from society for thinking these really terrible things of how I might not want kids.
I'm not a woman, so I'm not woman enough because I don't want kids.
Yeah. So if that's coming up, like, that is where representation is really important. That people who are child-free by choice are clear, like, hey, this is my experience. It doesn't have to be yours, but like, this is where I'm at. You can join my club.
Yeah.
Like, it's safe here. We Are Child Free podcast is a great one. That's a great podcast from folks who are child free by choice and by circumstance, I think is how by choice and by circumstance are the two. Because that is a different situation. If you can be
painful.
Yes.
And I hope that if you are child free by circumstance, that no one is asking you directly about your childbearing ways, because that's painful and that fucking sucks.
I've probably mentioned before that my parents had 13 years of infertility before they had me, and so my mom was like 40 when she had me, and this was in the 90s, obviously early 90s. And so like, people should just maybe not talk about other people's procreation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand.
Don't ask those questions.
I think women's sex lives being everybody else's business is something we need to change.
It's part of the problem, folks.
It starts young. Your sex life is everyone's fucking business.
Yep.
And then once you get married, it's all of a sudden it's everyone's business again.
Complete strangers.
Are you having unprotected sex regularly?
Fucking yeah. It is wild.
I know it comes with a lot. Sometimes this comes with a lot of like guilt and shame, especially if you were raised in the South. I know that there's some people that are in the South that listen to this podcast,
and a lot of Christian values.
Yeah, and like, there's no, I think for me, it was like guilt and shame for being like, oh, I guess I'm just never going to fulfill my duty as a woman because I don't want this. I don't want to put my body through this. I don't this is not something that I want.
I'm bad for
Yeah.
not wanting this.
And now it's kind of like turned into this like feminist rage where I'm like, well, now I don't want to because you're asking me to do it all the time, and that pisses me off.
Yeah, it's such a weird violation that people feel so free to talk about and make so many assumptions about.
Yeah, or to put their expectations of their future on you. It's like, I think...
Oh my God.
This happens a lot with in-laws and, you know, your parents who are desperate for grandchildren. And, you know, I have a lot of empathy for that. I know that they saw their life going a certain way.
Sure.
Where they had these kids and they wanted their kids to have kids so they could be surrounded by family all the time. And
there's grief in that too.
That's hard.
It's valid.
However,
that's not my problem.
That belongs to you. That does not belong to me. Yes. And so that is also something that my partner and I have been working through, is like other people's expectations of us, that's not ours. And
yeah,
we get to choose what we do with our life, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah. And it's really, it is actually leading to like strained and ruptured relationships with extended family for folks to put that kind of pressure. It's not helpful, people. So maybe be chill.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, my own therapist has been really cool about it. She gets like really angry, and she's a mom, and she gets really angry when it's funny because like therapists are people too. And so I enjoy sometimes when they have their own responses that are therapeutically appropriate, but she's just like, start asking them questions that are deeply personal.
Yeah.
Like, have you had a colonoscopy lately?
Have you been to the GYN lately? What's going on there?
Yeah.
You need to get your cervix checked.
Have you checked your prostate lately? That is a response. But yes, there's so many reasons why people choose the paths that they do, whether they are delighting in being good enough parents. I'm so big on that, like not being good parents, being good enough parents.
Absolutely.
There's so much research on how, that is how to be a healthy parent, to show up and attune to your kids' needs. We're not expecting you to be perfect. I have a lot of clients who are parents, and so I hear the struggles, y'all.
Yeah.
I hear and I empathize. There's lots of ways we get here. And you heard our perspectives today.
There's no wrong way to be a woman, y'all.
There is no wrong way to be a woman. Yes.
You can desperately want kids your whole life and make a big, beautiful family.
We support you. We celebrate you.
And I love that. We have so many friends who are in the process of making so many big, beautiful families, and I love that.
I have no ill will. I celebrate. I do not, like, we can want different things.
Absolutely.
That's appropriate and healthy.
Women support women. You do what feels good for you, and I'm going to do what feels good for me.
Yes.
And we're going to celebrate that about each other.
We're going to celebrate that. We just need women celebrating women. I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. It's a crazy idea.
All right, let's take a left turn.
All right. Into how babies get here.
Yeah. Well, you can't make a baby this way, but. So.
Internet sex.
In between each of these chapters, there's like little glimpses of Aiden and Cassie's OnlyFans relationship. And the big dramatic irony here is that we know that they were messaging each other on OnlyFans and not knowing it was each other the whole time.
Because they're both anonymous, and she had mask and a wig.
Right. Yeah. And so we get glimpses of what their relationship was like before they knew who each other's were, and then sort of how they're living together without knowing that they have already engaged in very intimate activities.
At what point did you know that this was...
Immediately on page 29. This is like... It says... The toy is bigger than anything I could have used before, and I gulp just pulling it out of the box. Can I even take something this big? I pick up the note that came with it, a strange thrill coursing through me as I consider the fact that one man out there wants to watch me use this, and that he's out there imagining it right now. And the note in the box says, I can't wait to watch you use this, and then from A. And I'm like, I wonder who A could be. Maybe it's Aiden, the guy who's the star.
Perhaps this is Aiden. Maybe that's around when. I mean, I was listening to this so fast and doing stuff the whole time. I started getting curious, like, this is like a pina colada situation where they didn't know that it was them all along.
Right.
This is what trope would that be? Is there a trope
hidden
for
identity?
It? Hidden identity.
Yeah. It's like it's not Romeo and Juliet, but there's like, isn't there a Shakespeare play where it's maybe Midsummer Night's Dream, where like nobody knows who each other is, and they're all wearing masks and pretending to be someone else. And
yes, this is done in a few like masquerade balls. Like this is done throughout time, throughout literature. Like this idea of they don't know who they are, but the fun of it is that she realizes before he does.
Yeah. Okay, on page 34. So we learned that Cassie's parents kind of sucked growing up. They were just not interested in being parents, and that happens. And so this is what I highlighted. I guess you can't fault them for being terrible parents when they never wanted to be parents in the first place. So
case in point.
Yes, this is exactly what we were just saying.
Case in point.
This is why access to birth control and giving women autonomy over their bodies is so important, because
sure is.
Like if you don't want to be a parent and then you're kind of forced into this role, like that's bad for you, it's bad for the kid, it's creating problems all across the board. And so
yes. We have a very human rights oriented podcast, y'all, in case you hadn't caught that.
Welcome.
And so we don't apologize for that. Yes, this is political, because you know what? The personal is political. Sexuality, deeply politicized.
Absolutely.
And so we can't separate that on the podcast, and we don't pretend to, and we're happy to talk about political things because that's who we really are too. Like we're not just like saving this for the pod.
Yeah.
This is what we actually talk about.
Yeah, this is, y'all,
this is deeply genuine.
We have to, bracket ourselves in our jobs, and so here we get to be our authentic selves.
Yes.
And say what we think and feel.
Yes, I know. I am often like walking that line of like helping the client like come to their beliefs, and like I don't know, it's great when it aligns with mine. That feels good, but then that's hard too, because I still want them to center there. It's not about what I think.
Right, absolutely.
It's about their journey, and so it's fun. It's fun here to have these discussions and be like, this is why this is important.
I know. I feel like because I work with a lot of teenagers, and teenagers are they're discovering what they learn, what they know and understand, and how they feel about the world. And sometimes it's fun to watch them kind of dance around things to see how I feel about it. They're like poking and being like,
well, they're trying to see if you're safe to talk, especially in our region.
Right, absolutely. And so it's fun to be the person that gets to explore that.
Aww.
Explore that with them.
Cassie's parents didn't want to be parents.
Yes.
And I work with a lot of kids, or a lot of adults, honestly, who their parents didn't really want to be parents, but they chose to anyway. And it's just tough out there.
It's
for
hard.
Those.
It's hard. Okay, on page 39, this is a very important question that I have for Anna.
Okay.
So Cassie's trying to make Sophie like her by, hanging out with her. So she says, I have this huge bowl of popcorn downstairs and all 3 Shrek movies on Blu-ray. Her nose wrinkles. What is Shrek? You've never seen Shrek?
What is Shrek?
No, she's never seen Shrek. Anna, have we rectified the Shrek situation?
There are only so many hours in the day.
Well,
there are only.
You can dedicate a tight 90 minutes to.
Do you know?
To the Shrek universe.
No. This is for no one's ears but yours. Do you know how many hours of content I need to consume between now and in the next 6 fucking days?
That's so true. Me too.
70 pages of content. Oh no, you've already read it. We're reviewing Aquawar this upcoming week. That's the point. Okay. In case y'all can't read between the lines, I have not seen Shrek. I have seen Puss in Boots.
Well, that's
the second
different.
Puss in Boots, which changed my life. Have you seen that?
I know it's good because
the Guilty Pleasures podcast.
Plug for the Guilty Pleasures podcast.
Y'all are hilarious.
By Zach Kornfeld and Kelsey Dara and Garrick Bernard.
Y'all are brilliant.
I love that podcast. It's my favorite thing in the whole world.
We get a lot of inspiration for her because they just bullshit around and we're like, oh, we can do that on air. Great.
They had a review of the Puss in Boots movie, the second one.
They were transfixed.
A glowing review. A full pleasure they gave it.
Full pleasure.
Yeah.
It lives up to the hype. So let me turn the attention off of the fact that I haven't seen Shrek and onto the fact that you haven't seen Puss in Boots.
Yeah, that's the important
Puss in Boots too. I giggled when Cassie was so horrified that Sophie hadn't seen Shrek, and I was like, okay, well, I feel like I've seen bits and pieces of Shrek. It's just I had very restricted access to media, and so why would I watch? And no,
Shrek is a wonderful movie about accepting the love that you deserve and
about an ogre. There's farts.
Loving yourself in the body that you have.
Oh, Oh, okay. I could get behind that.
It is a forward-thinking, beautiful.
Before its time?
Yes, way ahead of its time. Cameron Diaz just burping all over the place. It's amazing.
Okay, it's positive in that way. I could get behind that.
Yeah, I mean, she's ashamed that sometimes she turns into an ogre because she thinks she's ugly, and no, she's not.
No, she's perfect just the way she is.
Yeah.
And she finds love, from what I've heard.
Yes.
Yeah, Jay has been known to quote Shrek many a time. He was raised on a solid diet of a lot of Shrek, the Shrek DVD. So yeah, Cassie introduces our girl Sophie, and she's very resistant at first.
Well, she's indoctrinated into the Shrek universe.
The Shrek cinematic universe.
The Shrek cinematic universe.
How many sequels? There's 3, and there's a Christmas special.
I think there's 4.
Oh my god!
And then the Christmas special, and then all the other spin-offs as well. So, but I only require the first 2.
Okay, that's your requirement. Mm-hmm. What if I texted you at the end of the day and said I watched Shrek?
I would be very happy.
You'd be pleased?
Yeah.
What if I texted you and I said I haven't finished Jack of War? Less happy.
Well, I mean, whatever.
You'd tell me the high points.
Yeah, I'd let you know what goes on.
What goes down? I have a note.
Yes,
Chapter 3. I don't know what page this is.
Okay.
I don't know what page chapter 3 is. My only note is Cassie and her ant farm. OMG. Did she actually have an ant farm?
That was a joke.
Have you ever had an ant farm?
I have never had it. I don't like bugs.
Tell us about your feelings about the out of doors.
I just don't think that the outdoors is necessary. No, I like to be outside if there's, water, a cocktail, not a lot of sweating involved. A book.
Access to shade.
Yeah.
Alcohol. Entertainment of some sort, and near a body of water where you can get into the body of water.
Yeah.
What about wintertime? Pretty much never.
It's too cold to go outside in the winter.
Sure. We live in the southeast, it's not, but okay.
It's cold. Mm-hmm. But I walk my dog outside, and so
that is true love.
I have to walk myself and my dog because I do have to go outside.
I know.
Or I'll get depressed.
I know. It's really uncalled for, honestly. I have that light, that sunlight thing that helps me. No, I do love the out of doors. I was mountain biking Barbie yesterday, so I did. Back to the ant farm. I have never had an ant farm per se. I did, however, collect a lot of snails.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I put them all in a bucket, an ice cream bucket.
Well, I'm sure they survived.
I made them a little world.
I did one time when I was younger at the beach make a hermit crab hotel. And
adorable! Stop!
Yeah, wherever we were staying just had a lot of hermit crabs just walking around the beach.
Okay, that's adorable.
And
what beach was it? Was it at 38?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Aww.
It might have been closer to the Destin side, but we all dug a little square hole in the ground, and then we put the biggest hermit crab on a throne and just filled it with other hermit crabs, and we created a hermit crab kingdom.
That's the cinematic universe I'm interested in. What? You put him on the throne.
Yeah.
He
was pink and he was large, and we declared that he was going to rule all the hermit crabs.
He's the king.
That's right.
I see no flaws. Wow. Okay. We had very different childhoods, but I'm invested.
Well.
Okay, so you had a hermit frag kingdom / hotel, not an ant farm.
Not an ant farm.
Okay, and Cassie was joking about her ant farm.
Yeah,
why can't adults have ant farms?
Well, I think Aiden is a neat freak, and she was like, "I'm gonna bring my ant farm," and yeah,
she had several quippy little.
Yeah,
was that the Allie Hazelwood, or was that I bring up this question later? What's the Allie Hazelwood and what's the Tessa Bailey?
I think the Allie Hazelwood is the education of it all.
What education are we receiving again?
I mean, she's in school.
There are about 2 paragraphs about occupational therapy school. Lana, we love you. I'm sorry. I support women.
Sure.
I couldn't write this.
No. The spot in this book is pretty good.
I feel so bad criticizing authors.
I know.
I can't be a literary critic, but
we're not critics. We're just chatting.
We're chatting about a book that we read.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever... I mean, we wouldn't review it if we didn't think y'all should go read it. We're just giving informed consent.
Yeah.
That you're going to learn... You're going to have 2 paragraphs of learning.
Sure.
About occupational therapy. That's the Allie Hazelwood of it all. Okay, ant farm.
Yes. Okay, on page 93, we're going to jump ahead. I just highlighted, I'll try to be more careful too. There will be no more nipple-related incidents in this house. For play shadowing.
This was foreplay shadowing, indeed. That pink t-shirt came back.
That t-shirt was all over the place.
3-4 times?
Just that
Bra,
teeny tiny
no
pink
bra.
t-shirt.
It was emphasized. Wardrobe is frequently emphasized in books such as this. This horse was beat dead. This dead horse. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Tiny pink t-shirt.
He loves that tiny pink t-shirt, so she keeps wearing it. And we get told every time she wears it.
Mm-hmm. It was really clear. I made a note again at some point. I love how jazzed Cassie is to live with a gorgeous man in her tiny pink t-shirt.
Sure.
I made the note. I also live with a gorgeous man.
Well,
I identify with Cassie in this way.
Nice.
You know,
you're basically the same.
Cassie and I, we're the same.
Bright red hair.
Bright red hair, 5'7", gorgeous. And glittering OnlyFans account.
I mean, it's just you. That's
me to the core. The listeners don't know how much that is not me, but that's okay. I do live with a gorgeous man. I understand how she feels.
Sure.
Do you understand?
Yeah. It's really hard to live with a gorgeous man.
It's tough. I wear my little pink t-shirts.
It's just, I'm just prancing around in my titties with my pink t-shirt. And
standing in the foyer with my bikini on.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oopsie. Really just me and my Taylor Swift merch just wandering around the house like a ghost. All right, this is another in-between chapter moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Cassie's saying, I know it looks awful. Mm-hmm. My hand reaches over my shoulder, my fingers grazing the rough skin of the scar that is seared there. I realize I'm sitting here post-orgasm, waiting for him to log off and stop coming back for these private shows. I don't think it looks awful at all, he says, finally, and his tone leaves no room for a lie. I feel my anxiety lessening even more when he speaks again. I have a scar too, you know. So
precious.
Also some foreshadowing. We're going to recognize these scars. This is going to come up again.
Do we think this is how the cat's going to get out of the bag?
I think that's
the pussies are going to get out of the panties.
Yeah.
This is how the pussy's going to get out of the panties.
It sure
cat
is.
out of the bag. Yeah, these scars, I did have a question. Do we have any fucking idea how she got that scar on her shoulder that she's so obsessed with?
Boiling water. It's not described into great detail. I don't really even understand how the water got on her back.
I have so many questions.
But it is boiling water.
You know what? I identify with Cassie in this way too, because I was using my facial steamer and I adjusted it, and then some of the water splattered on my arm. Oh my God. I could have perished in that moment. I also have a scar, and I was also shirtless because, well, it's a steaming moment. You gotta steam.
Sometimes you gotta steam.
Sometimes you gotta steam. Yeah, girl goes to Hot Works and she steams your face. I don't know.
Sure.
I'm into it right now.
Okay, page 101. Aiden looks firm in all the right places, eliciting an urge to touch the hard lines and cut ridges in a way that is absolutely not appropriate for someone looking at their employer.
No.
That's so true, you all.
No.
Not that anyone would blame me, I think. Well, I am, if they were seeing what I'm seeing. Aiden says another filthy word in that same quiet voice that had woken me up, and everything about it makes me feel things that are so wholly inappropriate. It isn't fair that he's so good looking. Paired with the fact that he's sweet and funny and doing his best as a single dad, my ovaries are forming their own fan club at this point.
Ooh. Well, cheering him on.
I said my ovaries don't seem to care, but other parts of me are very interested in joining this fan club.
My ovaries are not swayed by this. However, the rest of me is, especially, I made the note, who can we send an award to for creating gray sweatpants?
Yes.
He appears several times in gray sweatpants.
It's all over the place.
My ovaries not necessarily were speaking up, but every other part of me was, what is it about a gray sweatpant for you?
I think it's the looseness of the hips, hanging off the hips. It's the easy access, the potential of a dick imprint, probably.
Okay. So that for me, it is truly the material's not even sheer. It's just the color of it. Mm-hmm. You can see what's going on down there.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
I sign off on that.
I endorse this. I would like to send an award to you, whomst ever created this. Do we think that guys know what they're doing whenever they're wearing gray sweatpants?
Yes. Well, yes. I think if they have experience with women, then yes.
They are under no illusion.
Yeah.
Like they completely understand.
What other reason is there to wear gray sweatpants?
They're gray sweatpants. Jay gets dressed in the morning. He brings me coffee, which is lovely, while I lay there, because I am not an insane morning person like you are, which is just really a problem that should be discussed at some point. But he gets dressed, and he gets dressed often for CrossFit. It's just a whole thing. Anyway, I'm sitting there. I watch him get dressed a lot. That's the point. But a lot of his clothes are gray. For some reason, he loves gray. And so he'll put it on, and he will say to himself, I shit you not, he'll say to himself, I'm gray boy today. He'll be like, I'm a gray boy. He'll say, I'm gray ghost. I'm gray fox. And he'll just start like describing. He's gray boy.
Yes, affirmations.
I'm like, yes, you are, babe. You look so good. He'll be like, is this too much? I'm like, never too much gray.
Looks great.
So he has many pairs of gray sweatpants and gray shorts, and it's very entertaining to me. But props to Lana Ferguson for knowing about those gray sweatpants.
It's very important. It's a staple, for real. Okay, on page 108, I forget everything I was about to say when Aiden rounds the corner, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that he isn't wearing a shirt. I can barely make it out in this light, but even having never seen it before, it makes my heart start to pound in my chest and my blood rush to my ears. I don't know how long it takes Aiden to realize I'm staring at the place to the left of his navel, his skin darker there, more raised. Oh, he laughs. I know it looks weird. I've had it forever. It's a heart. So she notices his scar, which I was not expecting. I was expecting him to notice hers and then get all weird. But she notices his scar, and it's like, oh, shit. This is the guy that I was hanging out with on OnlyFans. And you know what, y'all? Does she tell him right away?
Why would she do that?
She sure doesn't.
She needs to waffle about that for a bit.
She needs to think about it for 150 pages.
She needs to obsess about it. We need to hear deep inner musings.
She needs to keep her shirt on every single time they have sex.
So she needs to feel that deep conflicting anxiety around, oh my God, is he going to see my shoulder? It is... Yeah, it is. This is covered. It is covered extensively that I do appreciate that she is the one in the position of power who knows. Sure. I mean, should she have told him? Yes, she should have told him sooner. It would have made for a far less interesting story, but it's kind of shitty to keep that kind of thing from someone, even with the best of intentions.
Yeah.
But I liked that she knew before he did.
Yeah, I did like that too. Because
that would have been terrible to have someone figure it out before, and you were the one who was showing your naked body, because his camera was always off.
Right, he had his, yeah.
Or I guess, how did she see the scar? I don't know.
No, he told her about it, that it was shaped like a heart and where it was on his body.
Oh, and then that's how she didn't recognize him. She didn't.
Right.
She had never seen him. Mm-hmm. She had heard him and received lots of money from him.
I'm interested that she didn't recognize his voice, because they talked a lot.
You know, they sure did.
That's wrong holes.
That indeed is wrong holes. I think someone who I'd spent that much time with, I would remember their voice.
We're not here to worry about the wrong holes, you all.
Wrong holes. not for this pod.
Okay, so he starts telling her the story of how he got the scar, and she says in her mind, because we have her inner monologue, it's a story I've heard before, a story I've heard murmured through a computer mic from a man whose face I've never seen, a man who, until he suddenly disappeared from our message threads and subsequently my entire life, had almost made me believe he might have cared about me. So now we learned that they had a relationship. It was not just, he was paying her for private shows, but after the show, when she was done, they would talk, and they planned to meet up to meet each other in real life, because they had developed a relationship over OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. And so this is why it's a little different in this, that he wasn't just watching her and then logging off. He had formed a relationship with her.
And he paid for lots of the private shows. And they really did form a relationship, and they kind of get into it. It felt like love. It was mutual. This was a real companionship, connection, not just sex. It was definitely started with sex, but I think they really cared for each other, and they really wanted to meet up, and they were building a relationship there. And then, as we know, of course, it all makes sense even before we ever get there, but Rebecca died, and he was all of a sudden a single dad and full-time caregiver for his daughter, and so he closed down his OnlyFans, or just stopped responding, and she closed down hers too.
Yeah, so we learned that the day they were going to meet up, Rebecca died, and he immediately had to go take care of it. And so she had messaged him that night and was like, I can't believe you stood me up. That was really painful. And then
never heard.
Finally, when he got Sophie settled into the house, he logged back on and realized that she had deleted her account before he could communicate to her what happened.
Yeah. I mean, well, and grief and life transitions brings up a lot. Like, communication's tough, especially for my neurospicy brain. But yeah, he had intentions of getting back with her pretty soon. Mm-hmm. And then her heart was hurt. She jumped to some assumptions.
Yeah.
That he did not care about her and her little pink titties.
Her little pink titties. Yeah, so this is like how the tension starts to build a little bit more, is that she knows that this is the guy that she's had some pretty intimate conversations with.
And she was happy about, like, I'm sure with OnlyFans, it's not always about her pleasure,
Yeah.
She's doing this for work. She really was into this guy.
Yeah.
Like, they were.
Like, oh, I found him.
Yeah, she was as into him as he was into her.
Yeah. So on page 110, this is where, even though we already figured it out, but she confirms, because Aiden Reed, my very hot but very off-limits boss, used to watch my channel. He used to watch my channel a lot. It's like, yeah, we figured that out.
Yeah.
That's the A.
A la carte.
A la carte. That's been messaging you.
Yeah, chef. There were some clues. But I mean, you would never assume that. I would never assume my new nanny boss was my number one OnlyFans subscriber.
Yeah, I would never recognize his voice ever.
That I had been naked with many, many a time.
Okay, page 132. I'm assuming she's talking to Wanda, but I can't be sure.
Can't know it.
First of all, you assume any fault is to be had with the man. Yes. Mm-hmm. You have good tits and a better brain, and that means you are automatically a hands above the rest. I can't help it, but I laugh. Should we put that on a t-shirt? Hey, good tits and a better brain. That means I can't do anything wrong.
I can't do anything wrong. I'm flawless. Good tits and a better brain.
That's right.
That's us.
We have good tits and
even better brains.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, that's the standard. Like, you see how good my tits are, right?
Yeah. My brain is even better.
My brain is even better. You can't see my brain, but it's even better.
It's even better. Put that on a t-shirt.
That's some confidence right there.
We're creating a line of merch where it's just labias for dabias on a bag.
You've got to admit, that was pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
I did a good job with that one.
I'm proud of you.
I laughed at myself. I giggled. I had just woken up. Sometimes I think I'm the funniest when I've just woken up and my brain
Your brain is fresh?
Yeah, my brain is pretty, but I'm like my inhibitions are lowered. I'm not really thinking straight, and I just was responding to the thousands of text messages from y'all while I was asleep, and I just labias for dabias. It's going to be on a tote bag, friends. One day we can create merch pretty efficiently. Also, I do have a game of red flag, green flag.
Yay!
That we can get to at some point. Just putting it on your radar.
Woohoo!
I know. But I want to make sure that we're to the point where, story-wise, it starts making sense. We need to get to the fucking part.
Yeah, we're almost there. Okay, so page 150, they're at the park with Sophie.
Yes, they are.
And they both have to go, apparently. We both stare at each other for what feels like much longer than the 10 seconds it more than likely is. I notice the way Aiden's eyes dip to my mouth, the way his throat bobs with a swallow and his chest rises and falls heavier than it did a moment ago. Hey, Dad, come push me. Ah! This is where I said I don't like to be interrupted.
No.
Sophie's very cute, but I don't like the, hey, Dad.
If What? Was it a spider?
It was on me.
No, it wasn't. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, she's never going to recover from this. We probably don't even know where it went. It probably went under the couch.
Oh, great.
How big was it?
I mean, it was...
That's not the point. It was a spider, and it almost killed you.
Had 8 legs.
Timely for our episode where you describe how you're going to be so jumpy down here for the rest of your life. Yeah, we were just talking about your love of bugs and of the out of doors.
I will keep the scream in there.
Please do.
For, oh God, my pen. Where is it?
It's on the floor.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Probably next to the spider. We're back, folks.
Anyway.
That was pretty bad. That was pretty scary. That happened one time in a session with a client. My couch is white and my client was on the couch and spider just inching their way towards my client. And I didn't want to interrupt. Of course, it's like right at the most like impactful time, and they're like really finally putting words to something, and like it's finally clicking, and I'm like, I want to, and it just started like easing towards her leg, and so I hopped up and like ripped off my shoe and just smacked it on the couch, and I killed it, and I'm so glad. But the client never saw the spider and just thought that I was a lunatic. And so
I just thought you were like whacking.
They're not wrong, but I like stepped on it was so funny. It was just very dramatic, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
we're back.
Moving past the whatever I was just talking about. I don't remember.
You know what? You were just saying that you hate being interrupted.
Well, interrupted in moments like that.
I
love it when you interrupt because you always have good things to say. Spiders.
And because I'm incapable of not. You have learned to love the interruption of it all.
It has never bothered me.
You know, it has bothered a lot of people over time. And
there's so many other things I can be bothered about.
They can, and you know what? Those people can be friends with someone else. That's right. All right. That's all right. I am who I am.
Okay, page 157. We are at Disney World. Or Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Sorry.
Have you ever been?
I have.
In California?
Mm-hmm. They
went with A.
Yeah, they live in San Diego, and we went to San Diego for our 5-year wedding anniversary.
That's right.
And Anaheim is an hour away, and we drove over.
Oh,
it was magic.
So you've been to Disney World? I have not.
That's right. We're gonna go.
Yeah, I know. We've been discussing this. We've got to plan it. So, is it different?
Yes.
I mean, is it so much smaller? That's kind of the idea.
Yeah. So
it's the classic one.
I'm sorry for everyone who is a Disneyland stan.
We respect.
I love Disneyland.
I love Dollywood.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure do.
Disneyland was magical and beautiful. However, it does not hold a candle to Disney World. I mean,
I think that's the
there's
point,
double
right?
the amount of parks in Disney World. And maybe because Disney World was the one that I always have gone to, even as a little kid.
Aww.
So that one just feels more special. We went to, because we only went to one. We went to the Disneyland side, and whichever one has the Marvel land.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And yeah, so it was really fun.
Adorable. That's where Sophie and Aiden and Cassie all went together as a happy little family.
Yep.
You got an Airbnb together.
You have to bring your nanny to Disney World. You just have to.
You really do. That's essential for her birthday.
That's right.
For Sophie's birthday.
It's a mistake looking up at him, because how in the world does someone wearing all black at Disney and sporting Mickey Mouse ears manage to look so tempting? I can see his eyes behind his sunglasses. Oh, I can't see his eyes behind his sunglasses, but it doesn't matter, I think, because it's obvious he's looking right at me. You can pull them off, I say, a little more quietly. As a Disney adult, it sounds hot to me. Mickey Mouse ears.
The Mickey Mouse ears are not a problem for Disney adults.
I think it's cute. I like it.
I have referenced Sounds Like a Cold podcast and book, the Cultish book as well on here a few times, probably at this point, but they did a review on Disney adults. And they then kind of rate. I love referencing other podcasts on here. I'm a big podcast listener, and so I support other podcasts. But they kind of rate like cults based on like, what is it? Get the fuck out. You do you. They have like a rating system of like, it's fine, like this is low stakes.
Yeah.
And then there's like, you can do it, but watch out. Disney adults, they've decided is like, this is not hurting a single soul, but it is kind of a cult.
Well, you know.
Because you have to go and you have to like...
You spend so much money and...
Yes, but like you can leave at any time.
Yeah.
Like nobody's like, oh, you have to continue to be a Disney adult.
Yes, it's really, it's fun. And what I think is cute about that is I appreciate in a partner someone who can be like goofy and silly.
Yes, and
with
playful.
Me. Yeah, and so like
with your R2-D2 backpack.
That's right. He's the one who bought me that.
Yes, he did.
We were walking
Adorable.
around. It was the very first day. We had gone a few years ago with some friends, and as grown adults with no kids.
Even better.
It was
you're
great.
able to actually enjoy it.
It's great.
And do what you want to do.
It was our very first day there. We were walking around the World of Disney, which is that big store, and I saw the mini backpack R2D2.
That's so, I mean, it just is R2D2 on your back.
Yes,
it's
and I saw it, and I was looking at it, and A came up beside me, and he said, "Do you want that?" And I said, "Yes, I do."
For $350.
It was only $75. Thank you very much.
Wow, it's really nice too.
Yeah, I love it. I still carry it, and I'll bring it next time we go to Disney World.
Please, it's very cute.
But yeah, I just like, and then we had gone shortly after we got married. We went with his family to Disney World, and he wore the like happily ever after button to match me. You know, I like that.
Yes, I love being enthusiastic about things. Like there's a lot of suffering in this world, y'all. There's a lot of sadness. Let's find joy wherever we can. Mm-hmm. Like Disney is a great example of that.
Yeah,
let's just celebrate and have fun.
Yeah.
And play.
And play.
And frolic about.
And be silly. And be a princess. Wear a crown.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Aiden is doing exactly that. And he has his little Mickey Mouse ears. And Cassie thinks it's hot.
Yes. I think it's hot. And they get to meet... so Sophie is a big Encanto fan, which...
That comes up so many times.
They love Encanto.
I know. That is a real running theme. I was like, is this going to tie together at some point?
No, it's just...
She just loves Encanto.
They got to meet Mirabelle, which is really cute. Encanto is a great movie.
It really is. I wept.
Yes. Okay, page 165. It's time to get spicy.
Yeah, and spicy in here.
If the hard something pressing against my belly is any indication, I think it's safe to say Aiden is telling the truth when he says he's been thinking about me. This is crazy, he whispers again. Yeah, it is crazy.
She's your employee. Uh-huh.
I let my hand slide down to the firmness of his chest. It would be even crazier if you kissed me. Can I? And he does.
He does do that.
A consent king, he does ask.
He does ask. Kissing in multiple places ensues.
Oh, sure.
Kissing ensues. This brings me to green flag, red flag.
Okay.
If we're ready for it.
Let's do it.
We can safely assume at this point, you've highlighted, I am sure we will get to it, so many sexy things.
Yeah.
Sexy things ensue from this point on. Do we think sneaking around is hot? Green flag, red flag.
I think sneaking around is hot. However, if you have to sneak around, it's probably going to be a red flag situation.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so it is hot. It is a red flag.
Why do you have to sneak around?
Why do you have to?
Yeah, what's going on?
I can see you.
Yeah, like a workplace. Hey, and
we're not saying it's not hot.
I'm saying it's super hot. And like,
we get it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if you got like family in town, you got to sneak around, and that's fun and that's hot. But like, you know, if there's a situation where you're, you know, it's a workplace romance, kind of like this, or you're not supposed to be with the person you're with.
Yeah. I mean, it was giving like purity culture flashbacks of like sneaking around and like sneaking in whatever you could, whenever you could.
Right, yeah.
And so, yeah, forbidden love, it's hot. Like when things are off limits, it makes it immediately hotter.
Absolutely.
Like purity culture does exactly that. It has proven that time and time again. It only serves to make sex and sexuality even more beguiling. You're welcome for that word, that vocab word of the day. Okay, power differentials / power flips, green flag or red flag. So this comes up a few times because he is in charge. He is her boss. This is a power differential. Her ability to go to school, her housing, everything depends on her relationship with this man. But is he really the one in power, or is she? Because she's the one who, you know, he's in love with her. Like all of this stuff. Like, is this hot? Is this a green flag? Is this a red flag? I mean, I know it depends.
I will say I don't think
maybe Streets and Sheets is a better
it's
paradigm for this.
Sheets, it's hot. I mean, fucking your boss, sure, that's hot. In the streets, he's paying her to take care of his child. Like he is the source of her like well-being. You know, she can't afford to live. She won't have a place to live if she doesn't have this job.
And the well-being of Sophie too,
right,
is being jeopardized. An innocent third party. Which Iris, who we haven't talked about yet, but Iris is it's Sophie's aunt. She makes the point that like, hey,
this is not great.
This little girl, like if she loses Sophie or if she loses Cassie, then this is going to really hurt. Yeah.
Right.
This was an interesting, like...
I think this was this is kind of a fantasy, like, wish fulfillment.
Sure.
This was not a situation where we're like, yeah, this is a great idea. You should do this. Don't.
And that's a great point. And smut, sometimes green flag, red flag is just really not fun. Because it's like, well, the whole point of this is that
it's off limits. And
yes, that's why it's hot. And we get it. We really do. We really do get it. But I was like, oh, God. I'm green flag in the streets. This is such a red flag in the streets.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, one more. This comes up several times about how, he's just footing the bill. He is providing... She paid for her semester of grad school cash up front. Like, she saved up.
He's paying her a lot of money.
Yeah, he's paying her a lot of money because that's not only living expenses. She was able to save up and not get student loans for a semester of school. So that's at least $5,000, that she has extra from working...
Yeah, and he pays for everything.
And like that's kind of the theme. So, sugar daddies. we've not run a sugar daddies.
We haven't. We haven't done a super older man.
Yeah, and
situation.
is he a sugar daddy, or is this just she's being cared for?
Yeah, I don't. So the sugar daddy thing, girlies, make your money. Like, do it.
God,
if he's willing to take care of you, buy you a car. The system is
not
just
designed for us. Let's
yeah, dude, that's fine. I don't care about that.
Yeah, respect.
This is not really a sugar daddy situation. This is like, he's
literally her boss.
He's her employer.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's not a favor.
No,
she's on his payroll, like taxes wise. She's his employee,
right?
Ooh. And is he really caring for her, or is this just like he's giving her a bonus?
Interesting. I don't know. I feel when I was reading him paying for stuff, that did not make me uncomfortable because I feel
it was for Sophie.
Yeah, anytime that I did anything with the boys or my nanny family, or even if like before for a while the mom that I worked for worked like a weird shift where she would leave at like noon and then get back super late at night. Wow. So sometimes we would take the boys to lunch together, and like she would always pay for my my meal
because you're on the clock,
right?
But see, she's a live-in nanny. Yeah, great example. You're on the clock, but like you're doing stuff together.
Yeah,
so weird.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah, sex makes things complicated, doesn't it?
Especially when you're fucking your boss and you're supposed to be responsible for his child.
Yeah, so Iris has some great points around that.
Yeah, she gets pretty dramatic about it, but, I'm not saying... Iris makes some good points.
It's so boring to have a therapist brain. It's so boring to be...
Well, it's boring to think critically about the situation.
I'm so sorry to anyone for whomst I've ruined... I probably haven't ruined a damn thing, but...
Nah.
Coming in with the green flag. That's the beauty of green flag, red flag.
Come for a lot of different things. I'm on Book Talk, and so I see the crazy shit y'all are reading.
Yeah.
Like, that Haunting Adeline book, I'm not reading that. I don't know. I'm not reading that. And I know there's some fucking crazy ass shit that you don't want to happen to you in real life.
No, you don't.
You don't want a man to stalk you.
We are able to differentiate between fact and fiction, streets and sheets.
Yes.
We get it.
Look, if y'all find that book hot, it's okay to think things that aren't necessarily right are like, I think that's fine to think it's hot. Like if I'm using the Haunting Adeline book as an example because that's an extreme example of like that's like dark romance. He is stalking her. There's like a gunplay situation. This is just what I've heard from Book Talk.
Sure.
And so like I know that in real life y'all don't want that, but it's okay to think that is hot in your book, That's
exactly
fine. I don't care.
No judgment.
And so that same thing here. It's like, this is not what I would not do this, and this is not cool in real life, but in the book, the tension was hot. And
yes,
yeah,
I was confronted with that several times of like, because I was listening to it and I was like, this is hot, but like what? Why is it and maybe it was some like shame narrative of like, oh God, why am I into this? This is off limits. Like, this is very tame. But I was like, oh, this is not okay. Like, is it okay for me to be into this? And that speaks to the streets and sheets paradigm.
Absolutely.
We can be into things in our imagination and in our sex lives that we know these are a little toxic in real life.
Absolutely.
IRL.
Correct. Correct.
So those are the only categories I had. I was just like, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What Katie's thinking about these things.
All right. Okay. Page 166. So they're kind of making out in the hallway of this Airbnb. Sophie's asleep in the other room because she's exhausted from running around Disneyland. And so they're like, oh, we shouldn't do this in the hallway. And she says, like, hell, I'm letting him stop after riling me up this much. Well, okay. I push him backward toward the bathroom door, grasping behind him to turn the handle as we rush inside. Okay. The bathroom scene is really hot. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's got to be 2 bedrooms in this Airbnb. You know he did not book an Airbnb without a room for her.
Oh,
why did you not just go to her room? There's a room with a bed in this place.
Would it have been so hard? Yeah.
Bathroom. I did like the bathroom counter. I thought that was...
Bathroom counter, and then later we have some kitchen situations.
We have kitchen. We got all over this place. Placing his hands at my hips. This is page 168. Placing my hands at his hips, lifting me in one motion as he turns to set me on the bathroom counter. Seems like his answer. It takes him only seconds to roll everything down my thighs to leave me naked from the waist down.
Oh, no.
As the Lord intended, on the bathroom counter with your 9-year-old daughter in the next room.
Get a bucket and a mop.
A bucket, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, with your 9-year-old daughter in the next room. Feels right.
So, yeah. Oh, God. Look at this page. We have found the smut, you all. There's 3 highlights on this one page.
You've covered it.
Okay, so they're trying to be quiet because the kid is asleep.
Again, not my flavor of hot.
Look, I think that it can be hot to try to keep quiet if there's like someone else in your house.
Yes, go fast and keep quiet.
That's right. Move fast and keep quiet.
Move fast and go. Yeah.
So I did think that this kind of tension was hot, where you're like having to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cute.
Anyway. He shushes me gently as I take all of him. Quiet, he reminds me. You said you could be quiet, Cassie. Remember? I said, oh, I remember.
I promise. No such thing.
We may need to make adjustments to the aforementioned agreement. I don't know.
Like, can I see this contract again?
You said you were going to be quiet. I don't remember saying that.
Yes, it does become increasingly hard for her to be quiet.
Later on down, you feel so good, he raps. So fucking good. And then my note here says, I love when a man uses his words.
Be descriptive. Use your words.
You're using your words. That's good job. You're doing a good job.
Who did it? You tell me about that.
Later on down the same page, 408 other people highlighted this, so I am not the only weirdo who thought this was very good.
Optimal.
Shh, he soothes, his hand reaching to cut my jaw as his thumb presses against my lips. Be good, Cassie. You have to be good so I can fuck you.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Smiley face.
Smiley face.
We need the good girl hat.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do my best.
I'll be good.
I'll be very good.
I'll be quiet.
I'm good.
Yeah, she's already got a taste of all this.
That's right. I mean, yeah, she knows exactly what he's
into.
Like in the bedroom. Mm-hmm. He's very talkative as the turntables.
It's a real skill.
Page 171. His breath huffs against my jaw. This okay? Just like that, I breathe. Ongoing consent.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
It's not that hard, folks.
It's not that hard. All right. Page 173. I don't see myself magically gaining any restraint when it comes to you in the foreseeable future, which is great news for us.
Great news for the readers at home.
We love to hear that because there's not a lot of restraint.
There sure isn't. Things escalate.
That's right.
The gray sweatpants don't stay on. They get removed.
They get removed regularly. Page 173. I could tell him now. I could tell him everything I know about us, about what we've shared, but there's this tiny voice in my head that warns me against it. He walked out of my life once, and I survived that, but could I do it again? Now? These questions have me shoving down all the things I know I should probably be saying, but instead I lean in for another lingering kiss. Y'all, you gotta tell him. Like, this is... Yeah. You gotta just use your words and tell him.
Why do we like that tension? Why do we like the tension of words unsaid? Is it because we're used to it?
I think, because we're used to not saying exactly what we're thinking.
Yeah, I think our little nervous systems sometimes are like, oh, well, this is this is normal to feel like I can't say the things that I need and want to say. In fact, I shouldn't say the things that I need and want to say.
Right.
I should push that way, way down.
Yes.
Like, that's literally, that tension is...
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, I mean, it's an attachment thing. If I tell him the truth, then he's going to leave me.
Yeah. And but it's actually doing more damage. I mean, they work through it, but it's doing more damage to that.
I mean, she has this ongoing anxiety and angst when I will say,
it's unnecessary.
The tension was fun for a while, but then I was like, eventually I was like, okay, this is annoying me.
Yeah.
Especially, like, as they're having sex, like, her inner monologue is like, oh, no.
He's like, gonna see my back.
Right, exactly. She's like, I get this rush of anxiety. It's like, that should not be happening when you're having sex. Like,
I heard that too, and I thought, oh, that's not... Because
that's not good.
Yeah, it's that shame and anxiety and fear. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to judge with people's sex lives, but we don't want that to be the primary arousal. Like, safety. Safety is actually kind of great when you're having sex. And when you're in vulnerable positions.
Yeah.
Doing vulnerable things. We ideally want to feel safe and connected with our partner.
You don't want to feel a rush of anxiety.
A rush of terror.
Yeah.
And secrecy.
That's not hot.
People get addicted to it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Y'all be safe out there.
So page 178, they're kind of discussing the parameters of how this relationship is going to work, especially since she works for him.
That part about where she works for him.
Yeah. This is from Aiden's point of view. She cocks her head at me. So how does this work? How do you want it to work? You hold all the power here, Cassie. Her mouth quirks. Oh, do I? Absolutely. Talk dirty to me, Aiden.
Yes. That's
hot.
a real dirty talk. You hold all the power here. Hot damn.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Optimal.
God. Spiders all over me.
Katie's glitching. Your hair is touching your neck. Oh no.
Spiders all over me.
So fun. I'm so sorry. I've never had a spider down here.
It's
I didn't
fine.
invite it.
Spiders exist.
They do. It's not necessarily my fault.
Okay, page 188. Don't worry, you all. It's spicy again. Spicy. So, actually, I didn't highlight this, but a cute thing about her is that she has little printed underwear.
She
like
does.
Popsicles and hearts and
Bananas.
rainbows.
They're all printed.
Yeah. So this is also from Aiden's point of view. You're so pretty here. I manage my voice tight. Can I use my mouth? What? She looks concerned. Oh, I don't.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
I can't stop touching her, teasing her with my fingers. You don't like it? It's not just that. She bites her lip. I've never been able to come that way.
She thinks she's broken.
She thinks she's broken. This is done again and again. It's one of my favorite tropes.
It's a phenomenal trope.
It just means that, like, all this signals to me is that the oral sex is going to be incredible to read about.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while. And it's a man who's willing to... He's up for the challenge.
Take the time. And they're always like, the man always has the inner monologue. It's like, oh, other men have not taken the time to appreciate. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Instead of being intimidated or being like, oh, now the pressure is on, I love when the guy's like, oh, amazing. Well, I'd love to try. Like, they take it on as a challenge instead of like...
So hot.
Instead of like, oh no, what if I don't measure up? Like, step up to the plate.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's like, show a little
Get your tongue going.
confidence.
Let's go.
Just rev it on up.
Just rev it on up. Do those tongue exercises.
Next page 189. This is Aiden speaking.
Sure.
I can promise you, I'm already urging her thighs to part wider as I settle between them, that this is not a waste of time for me.
Nope.
The altar is my hips, even if it's a false god.
We worship for... What is it?
We'd worship this love.
We'd worship this love.
Yeah.
Have you seen the live react to that? The false god. You know the guy with the mustache and the...
Oh, H.T. Hayes.
Oh my god, that was the funniest.
I'm not sure I've seen that one.
He does it to false god, and he's like, "What on earth?" He's like, "This is my new favorite song." He's like, just moan the whole time. It's like, oh wow.
The altar is my hips.
Yeah. What is it? What is the average length of time it takes a woman to orgasm? Like 14 to 20 minutes or something.
In partnered sex.
Yes. To be clear, folks.
In partnered sex.
In
14 to 20 minutes.
Those are not the stats solo.
Yeah. Interesting.
Sometimes things are a little more straightforward.
Well, there's a little
Science.
less input. Yeah.
There's a little less input, exactly. For better or for worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Page 202. I had to, you all. I had to highlight Good, he grinds out, the sound harsh in my ear. Good girl.
Yes, you did.
I had to. It's my requirement as the person who takes notes on
You're
this
collecting
podcast.
data. You're collecting data. The data is the praise kink data.
It's very important to me.
It is interesting to you. It's important. You need to highlight it. You need to document.
I need to let our listeners know
when there is a good girl.
When there's interesting content.
Mm-hmm. That is our mission to our community, our weird little community.
Page 227. So I think she's talking to her friend in her class. So what's Sophie's dad like? I try for a blank face. Oh, Aiden, he's great.
Yeah.
Really nice. He also has this is inner monologue. He also has a filthy mouth and a dick that defies science, but that's probably not a good thing to mention right now.
Huh, yeah.
Defies science? What does that mean?
Defies science.
What does that mean?
What science?
Be more specific, please.
Is this large? Is this functionality?
Is it because it's big? Is it because of the shape?
Is it? Yeah.
Does she like a dick with a little bit of curve?
Yeah.
Hit that pussy with an uppercut?
There's something about the ergonomics of that.
There's something really, about... Megan Thee Stallion really understands.
Yeah, any of y'all who
dicks
are
that defy science,
concerned about shapes of dicks, sometimes a little shape is important. A little shape is helpful.
Just saying for
science.
For those anatomically interested.
Anatomically. Yes, for those curious. Yeah, I would like to know more about what she means by defy science.
Page 265. This is in the kitchen. Sometimes you got to. Hold on, he says roughly.
He's great in the kitchen.
He is great in
That was a great giggle there. I'm glad
he sure is.
Helped with that.
He's a chef. That's what we mean.
I think that's exactly why they're having sex in the kitchen. Like, I think that's the play there.
Hold on, he says roughly, a satisfied growl tearing out of him when I reach to grip the edges of the countertop.
Oh, yes.
I just wrote, aye, Captain. I shall.
Aye.
I shall be doing that.
Whatever you request.
I am very good at following directions.
Yeah, I'm really not, but that's a different problem. For another day.
Page 266. I don't know why I thought I needed to highlight every single thing.
Every single sexy thing.
I had to.
You were into it.
Apparently I was. Page 266. This is Cassie talking. I feel breathless now. My eyes screwed shut, my mouth slack as I focus on the sensation. I can't touch myself like this. Are you asking me to? Aiden, I pant. He dips into me a little harder. I want you to ask me, he grunts. Ask me to make you come, Cassie. Good Lord, I am only human.
You're asking me to speak.
You're asking me to say things? Coherent words?
At a time like this?
At a time on the countertop, Aiden. Please.
Really? Holding on for dear life.
Holding on.
Quit telling me what to do.
I simply cannot. I'm going to need you to figure it out.
That you are requiring too much of me, Aiden. Oh my God.
Too much brain activity, truly.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's for you, Brandon. Page 288. So this is kind of where we discover that, she's known him all along.
Oops.
You're not mad? No, I am, I assert. And when she starts to look crestfallen again, I add, but not because you kept it a secret. What? I'm angry that you dealt with this alone. I'm angry that you spent all this time worrying that I would push you away without giving me the chance to tell you that there is absolutely no way I'm letting you get away again. Aww. See what happens when you communicate clearly.
It's wild what happens when you're able to communicate clearly and openly with one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I actually thought that the discovery of them having known each other before was going to be the source of the third act breakup. Surely
that would be it, right?
I assumed that was going to be the case. It
but
sure wasn't.
Story kept on going.
The story, yeah. Well. The sex kept on going.
The sex kept on going. The story,
it's around.
It's there.
It's passing by. You can wave at it.
In the heated sexual encounters, there's a story swirling around them.
So it's around. So after they discover that they had known each other, the sex tends to get a little spicier because now he's like,
there's all this pent up longing.
Longing, yeah, exactly.
Finally, they're together.
Yeah. So page 291, Aiden asks, "You liked it when I told you what to do?" I mean. Look,
Yeah.
girlies who don't like to make decisions understand.
Yeah, it is lovely in the moment to not have to make a decision.
It's great. I make decisions all the time.
I am constantly using those parts of my brain.
There are sometimes when it just needs to be turned off.
I need less things to have to think about my brain. Mm-hmm. That's just going to get me out of my body.
Especially if you want me to be fully engaged in what we're doing.
The activities at hand.
The activities at hand.
Literally.
Page 295. When I finally pull away to look at her, the feeling it gives me to see her debauched, oh my, and must and satisfied, smiling at me like I've given her a fucking present. It's indescribable. Please consider leaving a tip, she whispers.
Because he tipped her a whole lot.
Yeah.
For
the private shows. So I actually thought that this was, I thought this was fun because it subverted my expectations of what the book was going to be like. And I like that this is now something they can joke about. Like, I think that's cute and fun. And then later on, in one of the last like sex scenes, they kind of role play as A and CC, which is really hot. And I really liked that. I thought that was cute that they didn't let it be an issue. I mean, because that was their relationship then, and this is the relationship now, and now they can combine them all together.
It took like a different shape and size.
Yeah.
It was, and I mean, there's something too, like the whole pina colada of it all, of like, oh, you were who I wanted, you were who I was with all along.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were who I wanted to be with. And I enjoyed you. I have the trope, I have the characters on the tip of my tongue who it reminds me of, but just it's a real fun one.
Yeah,
the babies have something to say.
They sure do. Okay, on page 303, we have a in-book Taylor Swift reference.
Oh, yes.
Great news for everybody involved, me, namely. I try to pull myself out of my gloomy mood by blasting Taylor Swift's entire discography on the drive to the restaurant. It's something that I do every single day.
You sure do. 270 songs.
That's right. But even my Spotify seems to be against me today, playing entirely too much Evermore.
Yeah, and not enough Red.
Not nearly enough Red.
Yeah.
It's like the universe wants me to cry today. Fickle bitch, I'm telling you.
Fickle bitch.
Okay. So I kind of feel this way.
Is there something to this? You put it on shuffle and it just...
So it is interesting so I have a playlist. I try not to stream her stolen music as much as I can. I obviously will listen to Reputation 1989, but not as much as I listen to the music that she owns.
Sure.
So I have a playlist that I have shared with you that has all of the music that she
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, all of the music that she currently owns. And so sometimes I'll just hit shuffle on that, and it does play a lot of folklore. And I know this is because Spotify, the way that Spotify works is that it plays when you hit shuffle on a playlist, it picks the cheapest songs to play first.
No, and so, I did not know that.
Yeah, and so that's why like you'll get like a lot of time very regularly the very first song that comes up is like My Tears Ricochet.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why is folklore the cheapest?
Probably because there's no like big. I mean, there are a couple like Cardigan has a music video, but there's no huge big singles that are super popular and.
Okay. Yeah. Duh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that all of Taylor Swift music is a little more expensive than.
Sure.
Than others, but
we're streaming
that's how Spotify works. But a red girly.
She's a red girly.
Because she's young.
Mm-hmm. Because she's young. She has.
Well, he established that Sweet Cassie is a red girly, and I support all red girlies out there. Just want to make sure y'all are okay. I have lots of friends who identify with the album Red because they went through a horrible breakup when they were younger, but there's a lot of happy things on Red as well.
There's a lot of fun things about Red.
Yeah.
There's
a long album.
Really terrible things on Red.
Some really heartbreaking stuff.
Yeah, that was definitely that was a great album. I was very into that.
Yeah. You are kind of a red girly because you did experience a devastating breakup when you were younger.
Right around that time, yeah. And I wore red for the Eras tour.
You sure did.
It was maybe lingerie.
It was perfect.
You're welcome.
Okay, page 321. They had gone to a party as a couple for the first time, and they are back home. He got her
a dress.
A really fancy black dress. Love it.
Buy me dresses.
Buy me dresses.
That's risky, though. That is really
Feelings
risky.
can get hurt.
I know, because it's my body.
Right. And, like, he said that he had gone in her closet and looked at the sizes of her stuff.
And he was bashful about that. But he's a man.
The thing
sizes are not sizes.
Yeah, and that didn't really bother me. It was just, like, There's no guarantee that whatever size dress is in my closet is the
That's what I
same
mean.
as whatever fancy brand that you're buying. Like a size small at Aerie is different from a size small at Target, different from a size small at Altered State.
We know so well.
So
all too well.
Right?
Shut.
So, like, thanks for going and checking my size, but also there's no guarantee that that size is going to fit me in whatever brand you're buying.
The sheer amount, and I mean, this is a shared experience. If any of y'all are new to this concept, please hear us that sizing is not consistent, especially in female
Oh, yeah.
clothes. Yes, and they are also not always inclusive of a wide range of bodies.
Yeah. For some reason, people think that women are shaped like squares, and
It's an interesting.
we are not.
Yeah.
I don't know what women they're looking at, but it's not most women.
It's shaped like squares, and yeah, we could talk about this for days. It's the most. Yeah, I heard because I listened to the book. Whenever I heard him say like, I went in your closet, I picked out, and I immediately thought she probably has a size 6, a size 4, a size 10,
Yeah.
a size medium, a size extra small, like. And knowing like she's 5'7" and knowing some about how she looks in my imagination anyway, I'm like, that is a broad range.
Yeah,
and she's 5'7", and so like if like a one-piece swimsuit on a 5'7" girly is going to fit different than a one-piece swimsuit, even if the same width of person. Oh God, it's so complicated. Clothes are made. What do you always say?
We buy clothes to fit our bodies, and not the other way around.
We buy clothes to fit our bodies. We are not meant to fit the clothes.
Right.
For the
we don't
love
change
of God.
ourselves to fit the clothes. We buy the clothes to fit us.
Yes, it is something. Write it on your foreheads. Write it on your mirrors. We went shopping one time at Planet Exchange, your first thrifting experience, and it helped me to hear that too. Of just like, you know what, this didn't fit, but we buy clothes to fit our bodies.
Yeah.
Not
This was not for me.
It's okay that this doesn't fit.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad person.
Just because this doesn't. Yeah. This wasn't designed for my body, and that's fine.
And I'm so happy for the girly for whose body this does fit. They're not bad either. Good for them.
Exactly.
We love it.
So on page 321, they're back home and they're kissing.
And they're shared home.
Yeah. I don't come back down from my kiss related high until I feel him undoing the zipper at the back of my dress. I've already managed to work his shirt off and tie and undo the fly of his pants when I come to my senses. Wait. Aiden's eyes are wild when he pulls away from me. Wait. The dress. I need to hang it up.
No.
Fuck the dress, he growls, and trying to kiss me again. It's the nicest dress I own.
It's the nicest.
It'll get wrinkled on the floor. I'll buy you another dress, he argues.
Ooh.
That's hot. Also,
That is hot.
I would have left that dress on the floor. No!
Hey, no way, no how.
First of all, like, when I get home from, like, a night out, I don't hang anything up. It goes either in my laundry basket or, like, laid out on the bench.
I have a chair.
Yeah, it just
I have a chair. Or a stool in my walk-in closet.
Yeah, so even if, like, there's no risky business happening, nothing's getting hung up. Ain't no way. If this is happening, it's going wherever it gets flung.
It's going to get flunged about. And
ain't no way I'm stopping to hang up a dress.
And it's fun the next morning to look at, like, where is my bra?
Where did I leave my underwear?
It's so fun. Yes. Jay is big on leaving his clothes in lots of places. Not always sexually related, but but frequently so. And
just socks on the couch. Oh, that's the fucking socks.
Underwear, actually. We'll just be watching a show and he'll just need to disrobe for comfort. For seated comfort.
To put his balls on the couch that I'm sitting on. Oh, no.
You're welcome. I've just learned if company's coming over, just check for undies. It's so upsetting. I hate it.
My partner will just, he will walk around in his boxers, but he usually leaves them on.
He usually leaves them on?
Unless
he's in his bed.
Yeah,
okay. Unless
he's in his bed or, there's canoodling, but boxers mostly stay on.
Hanky. God, people sometimes just leave your undies on. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
Okay, page 323. I'm trying to decide how I want to touch you first. His hand slides over my hip to dip inside my underwear so he can palm my ass. Yeah.
Very good.
With my hands, he ducks his head so his tongue can circle my nipple, drawing a gasp from me. My mouth. His hand at my ass pulls me closer against him, close enough that he can roll his hips to let his cock rub between my legs.
Very good.
Something else.
Question mark.
Words are hard right now. Yeah, they sure are. But I manage a breathy. Is there an all three option? There's always an all three option.
Is there an all three option?
I love options.
Yeah, give me options.
I'm an option enthusiast.
Can I choose all of the above?
When we're deciding where to eat for dinner, I love options.
Give me options.
Give me options. And I love when I'm allowed to choose more than one option. Can we go here and also go get ice cream?
You are amazing with options. You do this for me every time I'm like, what should I do? What should we do? This is generally in context of podcast planning. I'm like, what? But like, what should we do?
What should we do?
And I'm like, this is my conflict. What are your thoughts? You never fail to give me options.
I just love having options.
And it's a counseling technique too, of just like, I'm not here to tell you to fix your problems or tell you what to do. These are the options I'm seeing. These are some options. Let's explore them and see if more options come up. And it's a good way to go through life.
Yeah.
Like it gets you out of survival mode, because in survival mode there are no options. You're trapped.
You get one choice.
Yeah, like you have to deal with one choice and life is hard and I've been there. I know it. But when there's abundance, when there's plenty to go around, plenty of time, plenty of energy, plenty of money, and we believe these things for our lives, then we also have plenty of options.
Yep. I love options. And, I love an all three situation. There are many times when my partner will go pick up breakfast for us to eat, and he will go to one place and then also get coffee from somewhere else, because I like coffee from one place.
I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah. And
the coffee at the other place is no good. I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. That's right. So
no, it's like milk.
I know. I don't like it. So it's okay to have more than one option. You get to have both. I like both.
I think that's good.
I think that's good.
I think
that works.
We know what we like.
For me.
So Cassie agrees. Cassie is an all three kind of gal.
Yeah, she sure is.
She's an all three kind of gal. That's good too.
Yeah. So page 325, they're gonna do a little role play as CC and A.
Very good.
My fingers meet soft, velvety silicone that is all too familiar, and heat drips down into my belly and deeper as I pull out a bright pink vibrator that looks very realistic. It's bright pink and it looks realistic? What's happening?
Yeah. I've seen these.
So it's neon pink, but it has veins on it, I'm assuming.
Veins and shape. Yeah.
Veins and shape.
Let me tell you. I don't know how I feel about the veins stuff. To each their own. I've experienced the variety. I don't really like it when it's realistic. I don't need to pretend like that's a dick.
No.
I know that it's a vibrator.
And I don't think the texture really adds anything to the experience.
No! I think men like to think it does.
Sure. The nerve endings can't really differentiate down there.
You've got to be so sensitive to be able... No. You can't tell.
Yeah.
But okay, it's realistic. Great.
But okay, it's realistic.
Hot pink and realistic.
So that was my last official note about this book.
What a high note.
What a high note.
What a high Barbie note to end it on.
So the third act breakup actually is where Iris kind of figures out that they're sleeping together. That's the sister of
And she
Rebecca.
wanted custody of Sophie.
And so she tried to take custody of Sophie, and in order to protect Aiden and Sophie.
Sure.
Cassie left and was like, well, I can't do this. But then, Sophie masterminds them to get back together. And it's really
Parent
sweet.
traps them.
That's right. Happily ever after for all.
Precious.
That was Nanny.
We love to see it. That was The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. It's the first we've read from her. What do we think? Shall we rate the characters first?
Yeah.
The MCs.
The MCs. So, Aiden, streets versus sheets.
Much better in the sheets than in the streets.
He's super hot in the sheets. I liked everything going on.
4 or 5 in the sheets.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I'm into his vibe in the sheets. In the streets, he is flat and boring.
In the sheets, in the streets, he pisses me off, actually.
He does?
Yeah, because he's
the
flat.
intensity with which
flat.
he thinks about his job is insane.
I just think, dude, I don't feel sorry for it. I think that it's like, oh man, life is hard. Everything's, my daughter doesn't like me. Come on. Mm-hmm. This is your kid. I don't know. It's just not. Yeah, he's flat and he's overworked. And this is this is true to life for someone who's overworked. This is how it feels.
Yeah,
you're flat. You're unenthusiastic. You're burning the candle at both ends, and you're ruining your relationships. He's accomplishing all of that. Yeah, he pisses me off. Honestly, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah,
I don't hate him. I'm just meh.
I think he's fine. I liked what he was doing in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And that was good enough for me.
I enjoyed what he was doing in the bedroom. I liked that he was super respectful and empowering and supportive of Cassie's work.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Tried to be respectful of Cassie as a partner and as an employee, despite the fucking. And I think, there was a lot of things he did right. He wasn't, I've read worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, Cassie.
Cassie is good people.
I liked her. I thought she was a good main character.
She was. She was different. She wasn't the same as all the other ones. She joked about having an ant farm.
She did.
She liked Shrek. She had bananas on her panties. That's some Ellie Hazelwood energy. I see the quirky.
Yeah.
Okay.
The quirky main character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
I like that about her. I liked her until she just kept putting off having a conversation with Aiden. That really irritated me.
Yeah. I definitely saw some of the scarcity mindset. Like, this is what it's like when your gut is like, there's not enough to go around. I'm in danger. I'm in survival. There's, it's that scrounging to pay your bills. It's that, like, I'm going to fuck everything up. It's that, like, tenacity. This is probably some of the anxious avoidant attachment stuff, too, of just, like, oh, relationship. People don't want what's best for me. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely got some of those vibes from her.
So, I think she's like an average.
She's playful. She's fun.
Yeah. She's an average female main character.
I hate to even put numbers to it. Like a 3 or a 4, maybe.
Yeah.
But she's not... I don't think she's problematic. She should have told him. But she's young, too.
Yeah, she's young.
She's like 25. Mm-hmm. Do you think college girls are into this?
Maybe.
Is this for college students?
She's in college, so perhaps.
If I was a college student, I would be reading so much less smut and just having sex with people.
Yeah.
Could I do it again?
Well, no.
No. Although we did talk about it for tickets.
We're trying to get tickets to our home team football game.
They got very expensive, but you know what? We were students. $10.
That's right. Look, here's the deal with having a football team that wins. Tickets are expensive.
It's really tough.
It's really hard for us here.
It's really tough to... It is great, though. It's great to be.
I ordered 2 new shirts today because I'm feeling the spirit. I'm feeling the Holy Spirit really moving through me in that way.
I'm going to get emotional if I start thinking about it. Yeah, it's hometown pride, and maybe people are going to figure out where we live, but it's hometown pride, and I get emotional about our football.
The opening of our team always makes me cry the first time I see it every year.
I know it gets me. It's just, I didn't even grow up with it. It's just really special.
Yeah.
We love it. Okay,
right.
That's important. I'm glad we covered that. Students, yes.
Okay, was there a story? Did we care? What's going on here plot-wise?
Definitely a story. There was something happening here.
Something did happen.
Wow, I didn't care.
I surely...
No shade.
I surely did not.
No shade.
I cared a lot about the smut.
Cared a lot about the smut.
As you can tell, I only highlighted the smut.
That is what we were here for. I am realizing the fault in my stars of reading this, listening to this while doing shit. Because it's a lot less sexy. Because you're, like, doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. You're doing the dishes and you're like...
You're kind of splitting your attention.
Yeah.
No, I was literally doing the dishes and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, right.
But it is... So then, like, I'm just left with... Because I'm not, like, fully enjoying the smut. I'm not present. And I'm not... Like, the plot isn't very gripping. So I think that's probably the worst way you could possibly read this kind of book. If it's a great plot and great smut... Let's listen. Let's get engrossed in the story. But let me tell you, this was not the way to do it, folks.
Yeah, look, there is a story here.
It's an easy read.
The story's thin. It's fine. It's not important to me.
Again, we do come from the lived experience of not being. We don't love having little kids running around when we're trying to have sex.
That's so true.
So
yeah,
not that I've had actual experience with that, but
yeah.
Enough to know that I'm not a fan. So I think that some folks might identify more. Like, they might be like, yes, this was so true to life. Or I was so into my nanny dad. Or, like, I don't know.
I mean, people are raving about this book on TikTok. So, I mean, it has a demographic. And I'm not saying I didn't like the book. It was fine. I finished it. I loved the smut. The smut was beautifully written.
Yeah, exactly.
Very descriptive. Exactly the way that I like my smut to be written.
Exactly the way. It should be written.
Many fade to black moments. There was some like alluding to, we did it here when Sophie was asleep.
Yeah.
But there's several start to finish full
Scenes.
penetrative sex scenes.
Yes, it's descriptive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the fun of, that's why like we review it, we're very clear, like this is our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Do with it what you will.
Exactly.
And it's fun to see on Book Talk that like some folks are like really into books around like, oh, that wasn't for me, but it's cool that you really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we have for you this week. I know you are hurting for another 2.5 hour podcast.
They really are. They really, I know our fans. We've been looking at the stats and we do see that y'all listen to the entirety of our episodes.
Yeah.
So, because we've had pushback saying that our epis are too long.
We've had people say that.
But these are not people who actually listen.
Yeah, these are people saying, I would not listen to a 2.5 hour podcast.
But you know what? Y'all are.
Y'all are. It tells me that you listen to over 90% of it, which is where the main content is. So,
yeah. Which is great. Amazing.
And we love that because it's very hard to make these episodes shorter. If we did, we would be missing out on a lot of the conversations that we have, which is my favorite part of this podcast. So
I think if you're going to do smut, especially smut with lots of holes of both variety, like there needs to be space to talk about it. Like you can't just like go in and do like a literary breakdown.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We got to bullshit around. We got plenty of space to bullshit around on this podcast.
That's right. Okay, coming up next week, we are going to hopefully review A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Akabar.
The third in the ACOTAR series. So if you want to read along, please do.
If you've already read it,
yes,
join us.
It's like an 800 fucking page book. So if you want to read that,
and apparently there's fucking in there.
There is.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
We all know Katie Bird loves Reese.
There's some good Reese content. Also good Azrael content in this book.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved Azrael. Okay.
So tune in next week for A Court of Wings and Ruin. And in the meantime, if you have any thoughts, questions, suggestions, feelings you want to share, you can always email us at ourkinkykindlespod@gmail.com.
Don't forget the pod in there.
Yeah.
Brandon.
And then you can always follow us on TikTok at OKKPod. And then keep looking out for our miniseries. We're gonna record all the miniseries for the Summer I Turned Pretty and then release them all at one time, or at least week to week.
Yeah, there's definitely part 1s and 2s of both seasons.
Sure is. So it's gonna be
real long.
A 4 or 5 episode miniseries on that.
And they're so fun. Even you just editing it, you're having so much fun.
Oh, it's so silly.
It's just goofy.
If you want to hang out with 4 weirdos for a couple hours,
pretty tipsy in the middle of the night, it's a good time.
Hop on over to that little mini series.
And if you've never seen The Summer I Turned Pretty, I don't know that you need to for the mini series.
We're not doing a deep dive.
We're building off of The Summer I Turned Pretty for our conversation. Right. That's great, though.
Yeah, that's all we have for this week. All right, y'all. Until next time, don't have sex with your boss, but if you do, please tell us about it. Bye.
Bye.